and we have the vision that Kenyans need to take us to the next level. So join the party, and I think we can make Kenya great again. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All the best, and thank you so much for granting us your time.
Thank you so much.
We shall be here when you will be having the NDC.
Oh,
kindly invite us so that we also cover that.
Yes,
and when
yes,
you're
welcome.
launching your presidential candidates,
yes,
please let us know.
We will welcome you definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for watching The Grand and Glory. That has been our week's episode. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye.
K24TV. What's happening now?
Could that have contributed to this particular decline?
Sorry?
Could that have contributed to the decline?
Yes.
That you witnessed?
Thank you for watching K24. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up. Let us know what you need, what you don't like, and why. You can reach us on Facebook, X, TikTok, and WhatsApp. K24TV. Our shared experience. K24CTV. What's happening now?
From 11th June to 19th July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Get DSTV access for as little as 1,450 Kenya shillings today.
K24TV. Our shared experience. Shared experience.
Good morning. It is a Wednesday. Thank you so much once again for making time for K24 TV this particular morning and the conversation here on Politics and of course Press Review, bringing you up to speed with what you're waking up to this particular morning, and later on a conversation about the state of affairs in the country. All right, we'll be having that conversation here, looking at the first world vision. Are we on the right track when it comes to that? Yesterday, President William Ruto did receive a report in regards to the same. And of course, he has also issued a warning to the individuals that we consider goons in this particular country. Where are we in regards to that? And of course, the head of state being very categorical that the security officials should rein on the goons in the country and ensure that we have proper security and don't get to witness what we've been witnessing in the past few days. That conversation will be coming your way on the state of the nation this particular morning. I'll be speaking to Felix Ombua and of course mercy promise on this particular issue. Later on from 8 a.m., we'll also be taking a look at the state of affairs, looking at when it comes to matters 2027. What are these political realignments actually mean for the country? Which coalition seems to be gaining ground? Is it the broad-based government? Is it the Linda Mwananchi? Is it the united opposition? And who has the clear agenda for the people of Kenya? Nabi Nabwera, Member of Parliament Lugari, will be joining us from 8 a.m. all the way to 9 a.m. on Politalks to make sense of the state of affairs in the country, looking at the latest happenings in the political scene and what that means for the country moving forward. My name is Brian Amuai. Welcome once again to the program this particular morning. Let's begin with the People Daily. The People Daily is looking at what happened in Olkalau and placing the deputy president at the center of it and whether he's still a viable running mate when it comes to matters 2027 elections. So looking at race for Kindiki's seat after UDA laws. Now, the hidden legal traps, that's okay. This is a story on page 8. The hidden legal traps that's leaving political rejects out in the cold. That is a story that has been highlighted on page 8. But the top story on the People Daily this morning is a race for Kindiki's seat after UDA laws. So it's a full story on page 3 of the People Daily. Let's take a look at that. You're taking a look at Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and some of the leaders that have been proposed for this particular seat. Hassan Joho from Mombasa, of course, Coastarians and leaders from the coastal regions have said it is Hassan Joho that is actually suited to actually be the running mate when it comes to matters 2027 election with President William Ruto. Of course, even the InfoTracker poll that was released recently has placed him as a favorable candidate, especially within the coastal region, giving him a little bit of 64% of favor from the people of the coast. However, generally, nationally, he gets a 4% as a likely running mate to President William Ruto. Musalia Mudavadi has been proposed by the Western Kenya individuals, especially on InfoTrack. However, does not rank closer when it comes to the national tally. Anne Waiguru, of course, comes second to Kithure Kindiki in the Mount Kenya region with about 14% compared to Kindiki's 34% favor from the people of the country. All right, and also even the Mount Kenya region. Moses Wetangula and, of course, Oburu Oginga, who is the ODM party leader. And of course, one of ODM party leader and, of course, an individual that has been fronted as a possible running mate for President William Ruto in 2027. That is a conversation, of course, that continues to elicit debate here in the country, whether the delivery in Olkalau is sufficient enough to make Kindiki a one-term deputy president. And, of course, Grand President William Ruto, another running mate when it comes to matters 2027. Can he be able to effectively deliver the votes of the Mount Kenya region if he goes with President William Ruto to the ballot? A story that has been highlighted on the People Daily. Let's take a look at that particular story. I believe it is on page 3. If not 3, then it is page 4 of page 3. Yes, page 3 of the People Daily, looking at what the Olkalau ballot actually meant for the country moving forward. Now, this is the thing. In the case of Oburu Odinga, for instance, his party ODM has declared its total support for Ruto's re-election bid, but also said that the party is eyeing the deputy president position in the next year's polls. Do you remember when they said we want power? Well, here we are. He said even that deputy president slot is what we are eyeing. That is what the ODM party leader did say some time back. And, of course, just also allaying fears that could, seemed like a threat to Kithure Kindiki's particular seat. Now, he said we are going to negotiate hard. We won't leave anything out. Those who thought that we are not all going to demand for deputy presidency, that is one of them. It is not the only issue, but it is one of them. Now, whether it's disturbing some people or catching others in the wrong side, that is not our worry. Ours is to worry about our people and our party. We want in future to be in power. Now, the ODM party leader argued. Waiguru, on the other hand, is said to be angling herself for the said position, and her recent appearance during the by-election in Olkalau was meant to be a clear indication that she has the qualification required for the said job. Waiguru, as second-term governor, is on record dismissing the assumption that she will quit active politics when her term ends. This comes at a time when Ruto has previously stated that the next Kenya Kwanza running mate will be a woman. That's what he said sometime back during the G7 Summit, of course, here in Nairobi, where women governors were actually meeting, and of course at Safari Park Hotel. That was about 2024, around February there. That's when that particular declaration was made by President William Ruto. Of course, putting to question what the 2027 politics will be like. And right now, we don't know if things have changed or they still remain the same. And how by elections, loss has triggered rest for Kindiki's position. Of course, this is also a story that has been highlighted on the front page of the People Daily. Let's scroll down a little bit and look at that and how the failure to deliver all Kalau to the United Democratic Party seems to be affecting Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. Now, it is a story by the PD reporter. Now, for Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, the outcome of the All Kalau by-election should serve as an early warning, especially now when a number of individuals have openly expressed interest in the position he is currently holding. Now, despite reportedly investing over 10 billion in the mini polls and deploying cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, member of parliament and senior officials, the ruling coalition failed to retain the seat it had hoped would demonstrate that Mount Kenya remained firmly behind President William Ruto's administration, a story that has been covered on page 3. So does this mean that the failure to deliver All Kalau to the UDA party has actually rendered for Deputy President Kithure Kindiki a man who cannot actually deliver Mount Kenya? Well, it is a subject of conversation here in the country. Of course, we wait to see the same. Let's take a look at the Standard. Top story on the Standard is boycott. Now, this has to do with the judiciary. But of course, lawyers today have said they will not be attending court proceedings, and of course, just showing solidarity and boycotting these particular proceedings. And of course, to some extent, they have been urged not to do that because the common mwananchi is one person that will actually be affected by this. We'll also try to make sense of the same with our panel here in studio. Julius Caesars divorced his wife Pompeo, not because her adultery had been proved, but because even the slightest suspicion was intolerable. Now, Caesar's wife must be above suspicion has since become the benchmark for those entrusted with public office. Judges are no exception. Their authority rests not only on the law, but also on the confidence the public places in their integrity. That is why the battle over Chief Justice Martha Koome, 4 Supreme Court judges and 6 other judicial officers has become so explosive. Accused by lawyers of using court orders to shield themselves from scrutiny, the judges have chosen to fight for their positions in court. In doing so, they risk appearing no different from common shatterlands and chicken thieves, clutching at every legal lifeline to avoid accountability, thereby eroding the public confidence on which the judiciary ultimately depends on. This is a story on page 4 of the Standard. All right, today is the boycott day. Let's take a look at the Daily Nation. Top story on the Daily Nation is a poison love gang on the run. Interesting, right? Let's take a look at that. Well, deadly trio. Police believe the gang of 3 could be behind more drink-lacing cases in the country. And of course, this is what you're witnessing here on the Daily Nation, whereby suspect a screen grab of CCTV footage showing a woman who left a bar in Lavington in the company of Edgar Mukua on July 7th. Police believe that she and her 2 accomplices steal from unsuspecting patrons. There she is. Victim, Edgar Mukua, a father of 2, spent time in a bar with a woman police believe spiked his drink on July 7th. Mukua's body was found in Roysambu on July 8th, hours after he sent 300,000 to the mystery woman, now being sought by police. Sad affairs there. Now, in 5 days, 2 men were dragged as they sipped their favorite drinks in the bars 28 kilometers apart within the Nairobi metropolitan area and robbed of 800,000. Edgar Mukua, 53-year-old quantity surveyor, was found dead hours after leaving a club accompanied by a woman. As an investigation into the mystery death continues, another man reported losing cash after a night out with a woman. The face captured on CCTV was familiar to detectives. Page 2. All right, very sad here. Ruto's U-turn on varsity funding model. President William Ruto has conceded the higher education funding model he introduced in 2022, which pegs state funding for students on a family by financial background, has not lived up to expectation. He has promised changes to the law for all university students to get full government funding. Why teachers are unhappy with 8 billion pay increase, tutors have accused their union leaders of accepting a raw deal from government after many of them found their long-awaited salary increment ranged from 693 shillings to slightly above 2,000. Now, the reversed pay structure took effect on July 1st, 2026. Parenting, balancing privilege and safety. Of course, that is DN2 on issues to do with parenting inside the Daily Nation newspaper. We also have Dancing with the Devil, an autobiography by Stephen Kiyama. Dancing with the Devil, former UN Vice-Chancellor Kiyama's story. Now, Professor Stephen Kiyama Gitahi spent decades mastering the complexities of biological systems, but in 2020 he found himself taking an unlikely crash course in dissecting the intricate anatomy of power after he was appointed the 8th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. In his new book, Dancing with the Devil, he reveals intrigues of his dramatic 4 years in the hot seat that involved balancing between radical reforms to rescue the iconic institution and a tenacious fight against powerful forces out to kick him out of office. Don't miss the exclusive 3-part serialization of the autobiography that's starting tomorrow in the Daily Nation. That's what the Daily Nation is looking at. And also, goons take over evictions and auctions. Page 4 and 5. Armed gangs have become a familiar feature during evictions, property repossessions, and commercial disputes. Landlords deploy goons to throw out tenants. Traders turn to militia to settle scores with rivals, while auctioneers hire violent gangs to seize property. Right? Nice. Let's begin to make sense of what this means for the country. And joining me here is Felix Mboa. Good morning, man. Good morning. How are you? An honor to have you today. And thank you so much for making time this morning. Let's begin with the boycotts. What's that first? Just what's happening in the corridors of justice and the judges and what the LSK is doing today.
Thank you for having me here today. It's quite unfortunate that our people, who most of them, we believe, especially those arrested especially those who are arrested on cases relating to protests, cases relating to correcting the government, are going to suffer again due to lack of the people who are supposed to deliver justice. The government has not been serious on independent bodies, and these independent bodies should also understand their role according to the 2010 Constitution that came to draw a clear line to separate powers between judiciary, executive, and presidency. It's now what has been happening in other sectors. We saw it in the nursing. The medical practitioners went on strike. The other time it was the teachers. The other time it was university workers and lecturers. It means that no one is safe in this country. Everyone feels that there is some injustice in their places of operation, in where they, they have not that freedom to do what they are supposed to be doing for their country. Okay. Yeah.
Let me come to one of the things that happened yesterday, and that has to do with the head of state, especially talking on the issue to do with Buddhism here in the country. And we might not be actually, somehow, giving a warning to some extent. Too little, too late, or just right on time to be able to deal with this menace that you're facing as a country?
As a country, we need to go back to where the rain started beating us as people, as a nation. And that is over-trusting the people with our power, the power that we give them through the ballot. Over the years, Kenyan citizen has been paying little or less attention on matters to do with policies, bills, but of recent, we have very informed generation that wants to understand everything that is happening in the Augusta House, that is the National Assembly, in the Senate, everything that is happening, even in the justice corridors. We are waking up at a time when we already have hyenas taking care of a flock of sheep. And it will not be easy to do away with an hyena, because a hyena has planted his family and relatives in every independent body that we believe should be independent according to the constitution. When you go to the police service, hyena has his people there. When you go to the judiciary, which is supposed to be independent, has been captured.
Okay.
Yeah, so we believe that waking up this time, it will force us to use more energy to do away with what we could have used less energy if we made the right decisions on ballot. Yeah.
Okay. Should we be worried as a people heading to 2027 with what we're witnessing today, though?
Sure, we should be very much worried, and same time as we get worried, we should get bold and encouraged that all what we are seeing will come to an end at some point. If we all believe that we need a country that has leaders that believe in the Bill of Rights, that believe in constitutionalism, that believe in rule of law. We have a leader, or we have leaders that have suspended the constitution, if I may say, because there is a clear demarcation between the old constitution and the 2010 constitution. We are yet to get that nanny who will nurture this baby. That is the 2010 constitution.
13 years later.
13 years later, we still have
Is it 13 or more than 13?
More than 13.
2013?
2010.
2010, I beg your pardon.
It's more than 15 years
So
to
more than
date.
15.
Since then, the first president that we got was President Uhuru Kenyatta. He never supported the 2010 constitution. The predecessor, who is now Mr. Ruto, he too never supported the constitution. And what does this tell us? In 2010, he lost the referendum. This is now to erase the narrative that Ruto has never lost an election. In 2010, he lost during the referendum. And many others, until the other day when we saw him losing again in Ol Kalou. What our people need to know is that we are this far because of the love for cosmetic campaigns. We are so much excited by little money, 100 shillings. We are so much excited by giveaways, let's say bicycles, motorbikes, mattresses, shoes, forgetting that these are people who are coming to us not as investors in politics, but as scavengers. They are scavenging on our future. They are scavenging on our rights, because they know an informed society understands their rights, and it's hard to govern them. They want to keep us ignorant. That is why they are making education inaccessible. That is why they want to keep us unhealthy by introducing systems that, if they work, do not work for everyone in this country. Yet we want services and systems that will work for all Kenyans, irregardless of their status quo, irregardless of how much they earn, irregardless of which tribe they come from. But what do we see? We are seeing a lot of leaders that are coming out to frame us as tribals, to frame us as people who do not know what they want. Yet, of recent, you have seen young Kenyans have come out and said, Sisi ndio Sifuna, because Sifuna does not abduct. Sifuna is calling for rule of law. Others are saying that we want Boniface Mwangi. Why? Because he's saying he's going to fight corruption. We know we are where we are because of corruption. Others are saying we want Wanjigi. Why? Because Wanjigi is speaking loudly on economic recovery and how to handle the odious debts. So we are in a state that as Kenyans, we will not be again excited as we go to ballot, but remain sober, because every institution that we have today that was supposed to be independent is no longer independent. And that's why you saw the people of Al Kalau risk their lives to face harmed men, to face men who were out to impose leaders on them, just because they could not trust the IEBC. We are supposed to vote and go home, but what do we...
have too many counties in this country. We need to reduce the number of counties. Personally, as a Kenyan voter now, we need a complete overhaul of the current legislature because they failed us big time. I think Ruto's regime, there's a lot of public wastage, especially at State House. Look at the budget, the money going to State House, the meetings being held there. It's too much. There is no law in the constitution that mandates or gives power to the national government to take over the functions of this, unless the county government demonstrates that it cannot run itself. We are not part of that united opposition. Why? They don't have an agenda for the people of Kenya, number one. Number two, they are seeking power. If I was Sakaja, I would resign or not even vie for re-election.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you'll be coming across this particular clip. Welcome to another amazing episode of The Grind and Glory with your girl, Sarah Ibrahim. Today, I'm so excited because I'm so sure watu wengi watalearn a thing or two from this particular interview. I am so honored and humbled to have the Secretary General for Roots Party. He goes by the name Cecil Miller. I hope I have not butchered your name. It's Cecil Miller.
That's correct.
Welcome to The Grind and Glory.
Thank you so much.
You know, most people didn't even know that Cecil Miller is the Secretary General for the Roots Party.
Yes,
Your party was famous, especially during the last general elections, where we had your party candidate, Wajakoya, who was going for the presidency. When did you join the Roots Party? Afternoon to you. Welcome to the social circuit with your girl Sarah Ibrahim, and of course when you see me you know it's about to get down. Today we have a very jam-packed show and we want you to be part of it. How are you going to be part of this show? It's very simple. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Tell us what you think about the stories that we shall be talking about, and also if you have any questions for our guest for today, feel free to hit us up across all social media platforms. They are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can also talk to us through our WhatsApp line that is scrolling at the bottom of your screen, our SMS line. Wale wenye wanasema mimi sina data, we got you. We want you to be part of this show. And without saying much, allow me to introduce my guest for today. He comes from all the way, sijui nitamuintroduce from na huku nyumbani ama from where he has come from right now. I'm talking about Raz Kenya. He hails from Mombasa County, but currently he is based in the United States. So you will be sure that this show is going to be interesting because Raz atakuwa anatuambia vitu ameona huko US, vitu ameona Mombasa, vitu ameona Nairobi. Hujambo?
Sijambo, mambo vipi?
Ama nafaa kusema shikamoo.
Yoyote poa tu tunaenda nayo.
Uko freshi?
Niko poa, nashukuru, labda wewe.
Pia mimi nashukuru. Welcome to the social circuit. So here what we do,
Thank
we talk
you.
about the trending stories, vitu zote ambazo zimetendeka. So be sure hata wewe ukifanya kitu pale ujione Nairobi Gossip wapi, tutakuongelelea hapa. And also we just get to know our guests for today, the art that they are into, and yeah, have a good time because it's Friday. What else do you expect? We end the week in style. So Raz, nataka tuanze na trending stories ambazo zimekuwa zikitendeka, and then we will get to your musical journey.
Right.
So and to our first story, this particular person, I have a lot to say, but I would also want to hear from you. Content creator and media personality that is Priscilla Carey has elicited mixed reactions. This is after she announced to her employees that they have to go for a mandatory, yes, mandatory devotion. And if you're not going to go for the devotion, guess what? You're going to miss out on lunch. You're not going to get lunch that particular day. This did not sit well with so many people, Raz, I included. Kwa sababu mimi nasemanga, when it comes to religion, religion is a very, very sensitive topic.
Right.
So why are you forcing people to do things? Because when you're in a workplace, I assume kuna wale ni Wakristo, kuna wale ni Waislamu, kuna wale wenye they're just there, they call themselves spiritual, they don't go to mosque or the churches. So when you tell people it's a must, hapo kunakuwa na shida kidogo.
Right.
What's your take on this?
First of all, mimi nafikiria kwamba katika nchi ama katika dunia huwa kuna kitu inaitwa freedom of religion, freedom of expression, kitu kama hicho. So ukimwona mtu kwamba anamforce mtu mwingine katika dini fulani, then sioni kama iko right. Kwa sababu kila mmoja ana uhuru wake na kila mmoja anaruhusiwa kuwa na dini yake. Maana kila mmoja kuna vile ambavyo wanaamini ndani ya nafsi yake. So kulingana na mimi sioni kama iko sawa. All right, to our viewers who are wondering, what are these guys talking about? Let's have a look at this particular video where Priscilla Carey was just explaining why she had to make this a compulsory thing for her employees. Let's have a look at this particular video.
I woke up this morning to find out my employees have exposed me on Nairobi Gossip. All because Friday devotion imemekiwa mandatory, and if you don't attend, hakuna lunch. Yani kumbe huku nje mpendi maombi lakini mnapenda chakula Anyways, for me that's non-negotiable because every business that I have founded, it's product of faith, and I have to keep it as that. And I'm very loud about it. Everyone knows this before even they join the team. Nairobi Gossip, so you can unhide the ideas so that I can talk to this employee. I mean, I can be able to pray for these employees, you know.
So Raz, umesikia amesema it's mandatory. You have to first go for the devotion for you to have that lunch.
Haiwezekani.
And then it's giving high school vibes kwenye unaambiwa usipofanya hii hautapata hii.
Achana na kazi, tafuta kazi nyingine tu. Na wacha akae na kazi yake. Kazi ni nyingi, wapambanaji ni wengi. Wanaoajiri ni wengi pia. So kama yeye apeani, mwingine atakupa tu.
Lakini unajua pia uwezi sema ati utaamka tu uache kazi, because let's be very honest, maybe you don't know this, but I being in this country, it's not that easy ati utaacha kazi uende upate kwingine.
Sasa ngoja nikuulize, kati ya Mungu na kazi, ipi ina afadhali? Ama ipi iko unaipa kipaumbele zaidi?
Ni Mungu.
Bas, kwa hivyo achana na kazi yake. Pata kazi nyingine, achana naye.
Okay. Because kuna wengine wanasema Raz pia, she has all the rights because hiyo ni kazi yake. She wants things to be run in a certain way. So if you don't feel comfortable with her arrangements, basi we toka nenda kwingine.
Kwanza hiyo kazi yake ni kazi gani?
I think she has a salon. Something to do with beauty.
Mwanzo mimi sijui kushuka.
So unasema wewe uko tu sawa.
Mimi niko tu sawa.
All right. All right, we would love to hear from you. What do you think about this particular story? Are you in agreement that Priscilla is very correct, that she just wants things to run in a certain way, or you're the kind of people who are saying vitu za religion tafadhali tusilazimishie watu. All right, and it feels like today we are just going to be having very, very controversial stories. And on to our next story. This particular guy has created a buzz after coming out with some allegations. Who am I talking about? So there's this guy who's called, the name has gotten lost, but this is a content creator who said that in Kenya, we are used to seeing just familiar faces. And he went ahead and mentioned them. Just to mention a few, he mentioned Pascal Tokodi, Kate actress, there was Blessing Lungaho, and yeah, two others that Sarah Hassan that he mentioned. And he was saying that kwa nini that every time there is a new movie out, these 5 names have to appear. And he was saying, maybe it's because they're not giving opportunity to the up and coming. But Raz, kuna kitu watu walikuwa wanasema, for you to become a brand, Raz ni jina kubwa. Umepitia changamoto kadhaa ndio ujenge hiyo jina. Now that if tomorrow kuna kazi ambayo inafanyika, someone will think of you, the first call they'll make, yo Raz, tuko na this project, why can't you come through? Na wengine wanasema, by the way, this guy has a point. Why is it that we have to see the same faces? Hakuna talanta Kenya?
Upande wangu mimi naweza nikasema kwamba Kenya kuna talent nyingi sana. Sometimes inatokea kwamba wale watu ambao mnaona saa yote wako under contract. Unaona? So you maybe your contract iko kwa miaka 10, miaka 5. So na pia ile kampuni ambayo inasimamia ile kipindi lazima iwe na production ambayo inaendelea. Unaona? So iweze kuwa kwamba production inaongelea kuhusu baba na mama, alafu wao ukaongeza mtu mwingine character tofauti katika movie. So lazima wale characters wabaki vile vile ili itengeneze ile storyline ambayo yule script ameandika. Unaona? So kama ana feel kwamba watu wanaonelewa ama labda kuna watu specific fulani yeye ajitokeze aombe kazi. Au sio? Kwa sababu mwisho wa siku lazima ujitume, lazima uwe na jina, lazima uwe umeanzia mahali fulani ndio upate ile level ya kazi kulingana na wewe mwenyewe. Unaona?
Let's just have a look at this particular video, because honestly mimi nakubaliana na yeye to some extent, and to some extent I'm like why you, because I was very okay with him saying why is it that we have the same characters, but vile nadhani alikuwa anasema hiyo message, why am I even preempting? Let's have a look at this particular video and then you'll understand.
Hi, my name is Loser. You may know me as the guy who keeps making videos about the Kenyan film industry and criticizing about its bad components while also giving praise to its good parts. For the last 48 hours, I made a series of 2 videos, both saying the same thing: how we as Kenyans are sick and tired of seeing the same actors in our screens. We live in a system where no new actors are given a chance. No new projects out of the norm crime and rom-coms are given a chance. There's no experimentation, there's nothing new, it's just the status quo. I made a video criticizing the status quo. I thought this was vox populi. I thought this was a unanimous opinion. But unfortunately, the people in the industry who were already in the industry tend to disagree. This guy, specifically Pascal Tokodi, made a series of videos attacking me.
Wewe loser, Kenyan loser. Hadi umedegrade to a point unajiita loser. Wewe umefanya nini? Wewe, what have you done that you have the right to go around and talk about other people's projects?
Let's get one thing straight. Boss, hakuna mtu anatakanga hiyo life. Sijua watu wanaonanga tukiketi chini, we just sit in our rooms and fantasize that we are actors, that tunataka kutembea red carpet. Let me tell you guys something. The one time I was invited to an event which was full of celebrities, which was the Kalash Awards back in, I think, May. I think everybody saw that. I hated that experience. I felt like throwing up. I hated the pretentious and the thickness in that room. I felt like a lump was in my chest. Like I hate and despise that lifestyle. I was there for 6 hours, and those were the longest 6 hours I've ever had in my whole life. I couldn't wait to get out of there. Nobody wants to become a celebrity. Well, not me, to be specific. The main reason I do this was to better the industry. Critics are an important part in every society. There are film critics everywhere. My main goal was to be someone like Grace Randolph, Jeremy Jans, the critical drinker. I wanted to be someone who people look up to have a good opinion and to gauge at you. I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the guy talking about film.
But why would you even call yourself the Kenyan loser? Already you're degrading yourself. And I totally agree with him. Yes, critics are very important in every aspect of our lives. Lazima kuwe na wale watu wanakuambia, Raz, hapo hujafanya vizuri, you can do better. Yeah. I accept criticism if it's positive criticism. This particular guy, yeye mwenyewe ameketi chini akaamua kufanya this video. Can you even show us one movie that you have done ndio useme bedhe mimi ni mkali hata kushinda huyo Pascal Tukodi?
Unajua kulingana na huyu jamaa anavyofikiria. Ametry ku raise voice yake watu waweze kusikia.
Yeah.
Lakini mimi na feel kwamba angetumia hiyo nguvu kusukuma industry iweze kusikika.
Yeah.
Hiyo kitu ambayo ameona imerudiliwa basi aitangaze.
Yes.
Unaona? Kwa sababu mwisho wa siku kitu kizuri ndio kitatoka, kitatembea. Lakini ukiadvertise kwa uzuri itaenda zaidi. Lakini ukiiponda itasikika sana kuliko vile ambavyo umefanya promo. Unaona? So yeye angetumia hii bidii kwa kuitangaza, kwa kuwa support, so that vile tumeona hii video imeenda viral, ndio ile ingine pia ingeenda viral, and then watu wangejiambia okay, kwa hivyo kumbe kuna pengo mahali fulani, wacha tuizibe tuweze kitu kama hicho.
All right, I would love to hear from you. Do you agree with this guy? He calls himself the Kenyan loser. Does he have a valid point that in Kenya we just have the same familiar faces, ama it's because watu hawajitumi vile wanafaa kujituma? Let's hear from you, but for now allow us to move to our next story. And the Langata Member of Parliament, that is Felix Odor aka Jalango, has come out and proposed a bill that right now in Kenya you have to go through the National Youth Service before you get into the university. Raz, I don't know if you know this, but this was a thing back in the days during the Moi era. Kabla uingie university, lazima ungepitia NYS pale. It's the same thing, it happens in Nigeria. I think they call them the NYC or something. There is such a thing, you have to go through the paramilitary training before. I don't know, is it that saizi ni kitu kimepitwa na wakati? Because even right now, hakuna KCSE. After next year, we are done with KCSE manenos.
So kwanza, huyu ambaye ametaka kuleta hiyo hoja, yeye alipitia huko?
Hajapitia.
Basi asituletee.
Asilazimishe watu.
Asilazimishe, asituambie vile ambavyo utafanya. Kama yeye alipitia huko, tutapitia. Kama hakupitia, achane na watu. Hiyo ni kama, yani hiyo ni simple
and clear.
Hakuna vile unaweza niambia mimi nifanye kitu fulani na wewe mwenyewe hujai kuipitia. Utakuwa unanizengua sana yani.
I don't know where Jalango is coming from with this particular bill that he's proposing, because if it's to fix the unemployment issue in Kenya, I feel like there are better ways. If it's to fix the issue of goonism or the insecurity in Kenya, there are other better ways of dealing with all these things.
Kuna mambo mengi sana ya kufix. Especially insecurity.
Yes.
Unaona? Watu wananyongwa hapa kule, watu wanachinjwa hapa kule, watu wanatekwa hapa kule. Hizo ndio vitu za kuangalia. Alafu pia youths wanataka kazi. Unaona? Kazi hakuna. That's why unakuta vitu kama hivi vinatendeka. So angechukua muda wake, I find njia ambayo iko mbadala ya kuhamasisha vijana kupata kazi, other than kuambia ukitoka hapa uingie huku. Na hali huko nje kuna watu wamesoma sana na kazi hawana. Sasa unataka kuambia waingie jeshi. Mtu amesomea udaktari unataka kumwambia ingie.
Actually NYS si jeshi. NYS it's just for basic paramilitary, because huko hakuna training ya bunduki, hakuna.
Sasa huko unataka kwenda ukanyoosho kwa nini?
Uingie kwenye line.
Tunazo kutoka kwa wazazi.
Wengine hawana.
Huko achana nayo.
All right, are you like Razo? You're like me. It's very important to go through this paramilitary training before people join the university. Would love to hear from you. Make sure that you drop your comment down below. We shall be looking at them as we go on with the show. But for now, allow us to get to our last story of the day. And Papa Jones aka Calligraph Jones amesema wasanii, especially rappers, wacheni stories za beef na fighting here and there. Let's have a look at this particular video and then we get back with our comments.
Ona siku hizi leo sipendi kuingia kuingilia mambo mingi, but saa zingine nataka nikumbushe sana sana wasanii rappers wale tumetoka mtaa, tukumbuke kwa nini tunafanya hiki kitu tunafanya. Hiki kitu tunafanya ndio tugeuze lives zetu na maisha za familia zetu na wale wasio tuna inspire na wale wasio wanatufuata. Always remember that kuna so many distractions, vitu zinaweza yani kurudi kwa mawe. Watu wengi venye kurudi kwa mawe ni rahisi. Unaweza rudi kwa mawe tu hivi kimchezo unajipata ukirudi kwa mawe. So always remember ni nini ilikuleta hapa, kuchange maisha yako, ya familia yako na wale wasio wanakupenda. Sirudi kwa mawe. Stay guided. London, you are coming.
Raz, ningependa sana kusikia kutoka kwako. Now that wewe ni msanii, does OG have a point that saa zingine beef haisaidii?
Akona point kubwa sana kwa sababu ukiangalia wale marappers wengi wa America, wale wazuri ambao unaowajua wote wameuawa kwa sababu ya beef. Tukianza na akina Tupac, umeona, akina Biggie, na mpaka leo nyimbo zao zinadumu, but beef ndio ilifanya nini? Wakauawa. Unaona, so mambo ya beef wachana nayo. Ukiweza yani tilia mkazo katika bidii, support one another, and I kind of feel like kwamba kusupportiana ndio the best move. Hii mambo mengine hatuiwezi kwa sababu unajua beef zaya ni za kuuana, kupotezana. Sasa huku tukifanya kitu kama hiyo tutafanyana nini? Unaona, bunduki hatuna. Tuko tu mitaani na mapanga. Tunaumizana ya bure. Ingekuwa na kukata unatoa pesa bala ya damu, hapo ningekusupport. Lakini
story ya beef haina maana ya kupoteza maisha.
Unapoteza maisha for no reason. Ukiona talent ya mtu inang'ara, support.
Or find a way of collaborating with them, nyinyi wote msonge mbele.
Msonge mbele. Sio mambo ya tio sasa ni kuwinde uniwinde, unikandamize, uninyonge.
Haina
maana.
And I feel like if there's one person who gives very, very sober kind of advice is OG. OG, tumekumiss. If you're going to be dropping any music, we would love to hear from you. Menyamaza tu sana. But unfortunately, those are the stories that we had for today. But show haijaisha. Unaenda wapi? Keti bado. Because Raz is about to perform for us this song by the Wacha Nkwambe. It's one of my favorite from him, and you will be finding out why. So Raz, kama utatuperformia, simama, uwanja ni wako. This song featuring Ali K.
Mjanja wa jiji.
Peleka mbali.
Umenipeleka mbali sana.
Aya, drop it.
Top of the book while he came, she's a bongo. What it is, right, my man. Everybody got a feeling. Kupenda sana hata siku moja, sijajua kama nitakuja kupenda. Kusimama kana mjanja wa jiji, ile siku moja tutaja kupenda. Kupenda sana siku moja, sijajua kama nitakuja kupenda. Kusimama mjanja wa jiji, ile siku moja tutaja kupenda. Better know what it is. This is my feeling, baby girl. Umenipenda wakati mimi mwenyewe sijajua. Sinibalishe wakati mimi mwenzako na ugua. Ila washamini nitakuja kijiji kuja kukutambua. Nakumbuka kijiji tulipoonana ana kwa ana. Hebu nikamka hasira mwishowe zitaleta hasara. Nijifanya kweli mjanja wa jiji ila kanikoroga. Sinumise moyo napoyoyorasi utanumiza moyo. Sinumise moyo napoyoyorasi utanumiza moyo. Kupenda sana hata siku moja sijajua kama nitakuja kupenda. Nikakusimama naye mjanja wa jiji ile siku moja tutaja kupenda. Kupenda sana hata siku moja sijajua kama nitakuja kupenda. Nikakusimama naye mjanja wa jiji ile siku moja tutaja kupenda. Kusimama kama vile zamani. Hivi kwa nini mateso na machungu maishani unitose mimi? Nakumbuka mapenzi yale ya dhati kama vile mabugai. Natamani kuone angalau moyo wangu uitulize.
Inaitwa mjanja wa jiji.
Inaitwa mjanja wa jiji.
Hii ni mwaka gani?
Hii ilikuwa ni 2010.
That's like 16 years.
Right.
Hata mwili Alikiba wewe nyinyi wote mlikuwa 1GB.
Yani hapo tulikuwa mbamba sana yani hapo ni zamani yani nikikumbuka yani I was the second person in Kenya kuimba na Alikiba. Yeah.
Who was the first one?
Rafiki yangu mmoja anaitwa Paneli. Nyimbo inaitwa Barua.
Na mlitoana wapi na Alikiba?
Alikiba first of all ni familia yangu. Yeah.
Like wadamu. Raz.
Yep.
Nimekujua miaka mingi, mbona hujaini niambia? Mimi najua nyinyi ni marafiki tu.
Hapana. Sasa tutakuwaje marafiki tangu utotoni mpaka kubwani?
Si kuna wale tu mmelelewa labda mtaa mmoja ama wazazi ni marafiki.
Sasa yetu ni damu yani. It's just that atuongeagi kwa sababu unajua unaweza ukazungumza ukaambiwa unataka sifa.
Anataka kurejea jina yake.
Right.
Okay. Labda uambie tu watazamaji wetu who is Raz. Raz ametokea wapi na when you started your music journey, if this was 2010, kwani ulianza muziki lini?
Mambo vipi? Mimi naitwa Raz, ukipenda niite Raz Kenya. Natokea Kenya. Lakini naishi Marekani na life yangu ya muziki nimeanzia Nairobi. Nilianza 2002.
Okay.
But kitu 97 nikiwa shule ya msingi St. George's Grassland Academy Nakuru. Ndio pale tulikuwa tunapiga muziki, tunaimba katika hall nini, tunapiga ma keyboard pale. So muziki kaniingia.
Okay.
So kuna ile time ambayo unajua ukimaliza class 8 unajua kwamba nitakaa nyumbani kidogo ndo niingie form 1. Sasa pale katika hiyo hali ndo nilikuwa kwenye studio moja inaitwa Mandugu Digital.
Yes.
Kama mshasikia Mandugu Digital. Kama nyimbo ya Nita, Tusichangare. Huyo producer sasa. Shaki. Ndo alikuwa Mandugu Digital ambayo pia ilikuwa inaitwa AKF Level Up. Ilikuwa Isili Section 3. So pale mimi ndo nilikuwa mtu ambaye wasanii wakija na wa sign in so that wapate recording session. So among wale wasanii ambao walikuwa wanakuja pale ni Fracas,
Dry Gin
and Fracas, hata ile Man U na Arsenal ushaona. Nyimbo kama ile Rakwa MIC hizo sasa ndio zilikuwa za kwa produce pale. Kina Jago pia walikuwa wanakuja pale. Alafu na Caesar Genius, Doobies.
Caesar Genius ni yule Caesar alipotea?
Hapana, huyo ni mwingine sasa.
Okay.
Alafu kulikuwa na fundi Frank. Unaona? Sasa hao na kuna Rahim ndo walikuwa waenzi zile. So ilikuwa wakikuja pale studio, mimi ndio kuchora, session wanapiga, wanaondoka. So nikaanza kupenda muziki kutokea pale.
Okay.
So ikakuwa tuna competition between Mandugu Digital na Calif Records. But sasa mimi kimwili niko Mandugu Digital, lakini kiroho Calif Records. Huko sasa ndo kina Nonini na kina Jua Kali wako pale sasa. Na kina Mahatma na Jino Moja. Unaona? Sasa hapo ndo muziki kaniingia. Ikakuwa sasa full production. Najaribu kupiga manyimbo hapa na pale. Zinakataa lakini hivyo iko ndani yangu nayo. Unaona? So ilipofika hapo sasa 2009 nikarekodi song yangu moja inaitwa So Nice. So nikapiga So Nice, haikuwa nzuri hivyo, nikaachana nayo.
How ironical, so nice but it wasn't so nice.
Hapo ndio ilikuwa matatizo ya problem sasa. So 2010 ikakuwa kuna show ya Alikiba Mombasa. So nikamwambia bana mimi nimestruggle sana na hii kitu. Hii kitu So Nice imekataa. Unaonaje tuingie mjanja wa jiji? Akanambia fresh. Na mwenye kusababisha hiyo collab, yani ambaye alinisupport sana, ilikuwa ni Peter Adams. Unaona? Kwa sababu ilikuwa ni show ya Peter Adams, lakini mimi na Peter Adams tulikuwa pamoja. Nikamwambia bana tumuingiza jamaa studio. Akasema fresh haina noma. Tutajaribu tupange baada ya show, jamaa kishapumzika, tutaingia tufanye cause ukishatoka kuperform sauti huwa inakataa. So Alikiba yeye mwenyewe ndo akaniambia una ujanja mwingi. Unaona? Sasa ndo ikabidi tumeita mjanja wa jiji.
Interesting.
But sasa maana ya mjanja wa jiji ikawa imebadilika. So pale tukaingia Kiembeni kwa producer Toti. Ndio Toti akagonga ile beats. Alikia akachora chorus yake kama kawaida. Mimi nikaingia verse yangu kama kawaida. Ndio tukapata mjanja wa jiji.
And till today you see it's a timeless music. Watu wanaisikia,
watu wanaisikia, wanaipenda na appreciate sana support yao na nawapenda sana kwa sababu wana support muziki mzuri. Right.
Kukua kwa industry kwa hizo miaka zote si rahisi. Ni kitu kipi ambacho kinakufanya usigive up? Because vile tulikuwa tunasema every industry, especially the art industry, wakati hakuna pesa inaingia, saa zingine mtu ako like acha niachane na hii mambo ya muziki, mimi niende niwe labda lawyer ama daktari, nifanye tu vitu vingine. Lakini wewe bado unafanya vitu vingine kando, lakini bado muziki uko pale pale.
Kitu kwanza consistency muhimu sana. Alafu kitu ya pili usifanye muziki kama ambaye unataka upambane nayo. Unaona? Enda nayo vile ambavyo inakuja, vile ambavyo inakupeleka. Ukiingia mood ya kurecord, fanya juu chini hiyo feeling iweke. Unaona? So kila ukiweka unakuta una grow. Kwa sababu last time maybe ulikuwa una record hivi ukasikia sauti inakwaruza kidogo. Next time ukienda sauti imenyoka. Unaona? So inakupatia motisha ya kuendelea kila siku. That's why unakuta even katika audio ambayo nilitoa before na saizi zina utofauti. Sasa ile utofauti ndio inanipatia nguvu ya kuendelea.
Okay, Raz pia umefanya collabs na wasanii tofauti. Labda ni kitu kipi unaangalia kabla ya kukolabo na mtu yoyote, kwa sababu you've worked with some big names, Alikiba being included. Ni kitu gani unaangalia sana kabla ya kufanya collab?
So far mimi yani kitu ambacho wanaangalia nikipata beat, nikisikiliza huwa na feel kwamba hii beat inamfaa mtu fulani. Huwa sisemi tu ndafanya na huyu. Unaona? Nikisikiza nisikie kwamba okay ko pole kidogo nini, najua okay inamfaa mtu fulani. Unaona? Nikisikia inapiga hivi najua huyu mtu fulani akiingia hapa ndani ataijaza. Unaona? And that's why niko na design tofauti kwa sababu pia maybe God willing November nitakuwa natoa nyimbo yangu mpya na Kevin McCall. Yule ambaye amepiga exclusive.
Umesikia hapa kwanza.
Kevin McCall yule ambaye ameimba na Chris Brown Deuces. Niko na track na yeye pia. Wakicheck Instagram kwenye wall yake Kevin McCall watawaona pia amefollow Raz pale ndani.
But do you say
lazima niwaambie waelewe kwamba hii safari lazima iwe na hatua.
Alright, tutakuwa tunazungumzia ngoma yako mpya, but pia umezungumzia uko na collabo na watu tofauti. Wewe umeishi Kenya, umeishi Mombasa, umeishi Nairobi, saizi uko Marekani. Labda ni kitu kipi yenye ni tofauti kubwa sana yenye ungependa msanii yote wa Kenya ambaye anakutizama leo a pick from industry ya majuu yenye unaona it's lacking in Kenya?
Kwa kweli mimi sitawaambia wapick kutoka pale kwa sababu tukianzia production wale wana mitambo zaidi yetu. Unaona? So sitakutuma huko ukatafute. Nitakuencourage hapa kama mtu ana mitambo kama hiyo support that guy. Unaona? Tukiangalia kitu kingine nikikutuma Marekani uende ukatafute mandhari na eneo
Lakini si lazima aende kule, anaweza kuwa anaangalia wale wana focus na nini, video lazima ikuwe na mandhari yenye inavutia.
Sasa hiyo mandhari hatuna.
Tunayo Raz.
Hawa wanasiasa wanasafiri, wanaenda nje, wanaona vile nje kunapendeza. Watoke huko, warudi nyumbani, wafanye the same hapa nyumbani. Kukae hivyo. Unajua? Si ati tukitaka kushoot tunaenda South Africa. Unaona? Tutengezewe pia nchi yetu ikae poa. Unaona? Si ati kama healthcare imedorora nini na nini, tunakimbilia nje, especially sio sisi au matajiri. Unaona? Watatoka hapa wapeleke watu wao nje, sisi watu wetu wanahangaika hapa. So badala ya kufanya hivyo, hivyo vitu ambavyo wanakimbilia huko wavilete hapa. Unaona? So that at least kwa ground pia sisi sote
tuone tuko sawa.
Tu enjoy hivyo vitu. Unaona? So siwezi kumwambia msanii afanye hivyo. Ni msanii mwenyewe aangalie ni mandhari gani inamfaa. Although kuna watu wametia bidii. Wanafanya production nzuri, kamera zipo. Yaani ni motisha tu. Wewe ujitume tu na pia ujue kwamba okay, after hii naingiza ngapi, nafaidika vipi, kwa sababu mwisho wa siku kila kitu ni biashara. Unaona? Na muziki sio kitu kidogo. Lazima uwekeze, yani ugaramike sana ndio at least ufike pale. So usigive up wakati unaanza, kwa sababu una safari ndefu. Sometimes unatoa hit song moja unakuwa juu. Unaona? Sometimes unatoa nyimbo hata MP3 nzima hakuna anayekusikiliza, lakini ipo siku utajipa tu na usigive up.
Alright. Ngoma yako mpya na Fidempa, labda tuambie ni kuhusu nini, na pia ukizungumzia projects zingine ambazo you're about to drop. So hii ngoma yenyewe inaitwa Mimina. Kwa hivyo mimi na lakini at the same time mimina. Unaona? So ni ngoma ambayo ni ya kupati, ya kusherekea, na kama vile leo ni Friday, tunataka waenjoy, washerekee sasa na nyimbo yenyewe sasa. And then baada ya hapo ndio sasa nitatoa video yake. Muda sio mrefu, maybe in 1 week's time ndio nitaachia video yake. Alafu pia niko na nyimbo nyingine ambayo nimemshirikisha Maarifa, inaitwa Ni Bebe, ya mapenzi kidogo. Kwa hivyo nitatoa video 2 kwa mpigo. Tuko na Nijishaue, hiyo ndio tutakuwa tunamalizia nayo Raz. Thank you so much Aki. I wish we had more time, but social media watu wa kufollow wapi, wa subscribe nini? Kamera yako ni hii.
Alright. So kama vipi ukipendelea kunifollow ama kama wewe ni fan wangu unataka kuongea na mimi, ingia Instagram, andika Raz Kenya. R-A-Z alafu Kenya. Ukiingia YouTube andika Raz Kenya. Ukiingia Facebook andika hivyo Raz Kenya. Ukiingia TikTok ni Raz Kenya. Yani kila kitu Raz Kenya. Hivyo tu.
Alright, make sure mmemfollow, na pia the new projects zenye zina drop, that you get to be the first one kuzi-enjoy pia. Sindio Raz?
Maana mambo ni moto.
Umesema unazi-drop kuzi-drop.
Yani wakiingia hapo YouTube ndio watajua kuna kitu kali. Kwanza
lakini kabla waingia hata si tuwapatie reason ya wao kuingia huko.
Tuende kazi.
Tumalize na hii ngoma. Till next Friday, have a fantastic weekend. See you then. Kwaheri. Umeangusha pesa.
Wangu nakupa maua, beautiful joy of my heart, wala unasafiri jihad. Isi bomba kali mtoto mali unaniwaua, beautiful joy of my heart, make a bad man soft in a heart. So me have money fully for you, yeah me got time ready for you, yeah me do it for the fam my boo, make it tambo sijapenda my boo. And you and me have you stick like glue, Valentine baby, basi jishaue maono, jishaue nivute karibu na wewe, nikisanowe kill it with a word my baby, jishaue nivute karibu na wewe, nikisanowe kill it with a word my baby. You know, you already know.
have too many counties in this country. We need to reduce the number of counties. Personally, as a Kenyan voter now, we need a complete overhaul of the current legislature because they failed us big time. I think Ruto's regime, there's a lot of public wastage, especially at State House. Look at the budget, the money going to State House, the meetings being held there. It's too much. There is no law in the constitution that mandates or gives power to the national government to take over the functions of this, unless the county government demonstrates that it cannot run itself. We are not part of that united opposition. Why? They don't have an agenda for the people of Kenya, number one. Number two, they are seeking power. If I was Sakaja, I would resign or not even vie for re-election.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you'll be coming across this particular clip. Welcome to another amazing episode of The Grind and Glory with your girl, Sarah Ibrahim. Today, I'm so excited because I'm so sure watu wengi watalearn a thing or two from this particular interview. I am so honored and humbled to have the Secretary General for Roots Party. He goes by the name Cecil Miller. I hope I have not butchered your name. It's Cecil Miller.
That's correct.
Welcome to The Grind and Glory.
Thank you so much.
You know, most people didn't even know that Cecil Miller is the Secretary General for the Roots Party.
Yes,
your party was famous, especially during the last general elections, where we had your party candidate, Wajakoya, who was going for the presidency. When did you join the Roots Party?
I joined the Roots Party way back in 2014.
Okay.
Yes. I met my party leader back at the Kenya School of Law.
Okay.
We were doing that program at the same time. Yes, so that's when the idea came up that we need to do something. We used to call it Shake the Tree Movement.
Okay.
Yes, so that's when I joined the Roots Party.
Okay, so you've been a member for a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you becoming the SG for Roots Party, how did that happen? Because during the last general election, we had Justina Wamae, who was the running mate for Professor Wajakoya.
Yes. First of all, let me start by saying I joined politics when I was in campus. I was elected the Secretary General at the University of Nairobi. That is the year 2012. Okay. So during my tenure as the SG, I had an opportunity to work with a couple of politicians. Tim Wanyonyi, the current MP for Westlands, who is also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So he really motivated me to join politics. We also worked with the then governor of Nairobi, Evans Kidero, and the former MP for Dagoretti, current governor of Kisii, Simbarati. So those are the guys who molded me into joining politics.
Okay.
Yes, so Prof has been a friend for more than 10 years now. The party has been vibrant, but I think now it's more vibrant because it has the right leadership in place. So due to the long friendship we share, and both of us being advocates of the High Court of Kenya, it's been easy to work together.
Okay.
Yes, and also bring in the youth, the face of the youth into the party.
You mentioned that you had an interaction with a couple of politicians.
Yes, that's correct.
Why go for the Roots Party and not any other party, not the Jubilee Party, ODM Party?
Yes.
What's specific about the Roots Party that drew you to this particular party?
Yes. I've had a chance to vote, I think 3 times in this the 3 general elections. One thing I've noted is that most politicians in this country, they work for their own benefit. They don't care about the interests of the common wananchi. Okay, being a voter, that has really shaped my way of thinking politically. So Wajakoya is one person I personally know, and he's one person who is he really needs change for this nation. That's why we need to give him a chance so that the people of Kenya can also get to know that we can test a different style of leadership. the kind of exposure he has, having stayed abroad for more than 20 years. I think we need to bring in that kind of, that international exposure. It can change the way things are run in this country. So I think, we are tired of this. We've had the same group of politicians for the last 40 years. Yeah, so I think we need to try something different so that Kenya can also experience a different style of leadership. And I think Prof is the right person for that job. Yeah.
We shall be talking about Prof, and if your party will be having a candidate as the presidential candidate in the 2027 elections. But for now, I just want to get to understand, since you took over as the SG for Roots Party, what are some of the things that you have changed since you took over?
Yes. First of all, you may realize that you may not know any other SG apart from me. Roots Party had officials before, but I can say most of them were not, they didn't have political ambitions, okay? And that's why I came in to make the party more vibrant. Secondly, I've done a lot in terms of, restructuring the party. Appointment of new officials, okay, and also we've opened a good number of offices within the Republic of Kenya. That's one thing that we've never had before. So I've managed to open offices in Busia, Kakamega. We are doing one in Homa Bay. Kilifi is now very vibrant, where I come from. I practice in Kilifi. We are opening up Kenya to Roots Party. We even Tana River. We have guys on the grounds. We are active in Turkana and West Pokot. So Roots Party is now, what I'm doing is I want to make it a national party, okay? And I also want it to a party that brings in together people of, a common vision, not based on tribal lines. Yeah, because even me, you can't tell where I come from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, so
even the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the Kenya we want. We want a Kenya that is, cohesive, a Kenya that does not care where you come from. We want to bring, everyone at par. And then we move as a unit. That's my goal as the SG of Roots Party.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to change the style of leadership. You may have noted that right now we have something called a united opposition in this country. Okay, but if you look at them keenly, they do not tackle the issues that are affecting Kenyans. They major on talking about the president and the wrong things. They don't even give us alternatives, and that's now why we want to come in and tell Kenya.
Our shared experience.
Good afternoon. Welcome to K24 Shortcuts at 4. My name is Brian Amoa. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is in Uganda to represent Kenya at a high-level African Union summit focused on the future of the Continental Peace Support Mission in Somalia. The meeting, taking place in Entebbe, has brought together regional leaders and senior government officials to discuss the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, including its operation, financing, and long-term strategy as Somalia continues efforts further to strengthen security and combat extremist groups. Kindiki is attending the summit on behalf of President William Ruto, highlighting Kenya's continued role in regional peace and security initiatives.
No, Your Excellency, thank you very much. The only point that I had considered, there's 2 points, and I mentioned it, and the team will work as you rightly instructed. They will review and remove it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, our host.
In the closed session, but maybe here I can just make 2 points. One is that Uganda does not have a border with Somalia. When therefore we decided to involve ourselves in Somalia, it was out of principle and strategy. Principle number one, we did not accept the chauvinism of Islamic groups who come here and waste our time, that they want to impose themselves on society. We had the same problems with Sudan, Khartoum, and now it was coming up in Somalia.
I'm not going to read all my speech since the communique has been already adopted, but it's my duty as the chair of the African Union Commission to convey 3 messages in front of this august body, August Assembly. The number 1 message is that Africa remains fully committed alongside Somalia. The second message, that we are determined to preserve the gains of AUSOM and to conduct an orderly transition grounded in the realities on the ground. And the third message is that we intend to pursue a close dialogue.
Now, victims of police brutality have gone to court to challenge the compensation debate that is currently happening in the country over victims of police brutality. They have said that most of them that were abducted by the state have been neglected and left out in the compensation plan.
We want to remind William Ruto and his useless regime that no victim or survivor is going to remain silent until justice is served. We want to remind the government that they cannot abduct people, torture, kill some, and get away with it. We are willing to fight this up to ICC if possible. So no one is going to remain silent, no one is going to be intimidated, no one is going to buy the rights. This is Tuongopi Bana. Thank you. My name is Kavoli Bernard.
Remember, he was one of the guys kidnapped in the Pro Box.
Yes, fresh. What I'm saying is this, as the coalition of victims and survivors against state violence, we are reminding William Ruto and his useless regime that no victim is going to be intimidated, no victim is going to buy threats. We are going to remain in our cause to fight for justice, all right? And we are willing to fight for this justice even up to ICC.
Interior and National Administration CS Kipchumba Murkomen has defended President William Ruto's newly unveiled Kenya's new national development vision beyond Vision 2030, saying it guarantees Kenyans a brighter and more dignified future, while dismissing criticism from the opposition. Now, the CS argued that the country's development agenda must remain firmly anchored in constitutional principles, adding that Kenyans deserve both constitutional freedoms and economic progress. The Interior CS also called on the people of the Mount Kenya region to rally behind Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, saying that he represents the region's future leadership.
Tangu tuingie serikali na tumefanya kazi kwa karibu, hata nikiwa roads nilikuwa mmoja ya wale ambao nilikuwa nasafiri nikienda China, ninaenda kumfanyia kazi ya kutetea mambo ya TTI, na hata kabla ya hiyo anajua kwamba nikiwa Senate pia nilikuwa na a close interest on matters of TTI, and from there we've become very close friends and we're working together. She's my big sister and she's our peers. I like your passion. Nafurahia sana passion yake ya mambo ya TVET. Anafanya kazi kwa roho yake yote. na yeye ni kiongozi kwa kanisa pia, na ni pia kiongozi kwa taifa letu. Na aliposema kwamba kuna shule karibu nyumbani, hii shule yenye inaitwa Kagari, ya aliposema hii shule ya Kagari ni kuje nishikane na yeye tusaidiane kujenga, sikuwa na nafasi ya kusema hapana, kwa sababu kama vile amewaambia, ametembea Elgeyo Marakwet kwetu nyumbani mara mingi, na pia tumekutana na yeye kwa mikutano mingi sana, ama graduations nyingi ambayo ni ya TVET. Pia huyu PS Wenu.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, I beg your pardon, Musalia Mudavadi, held fruitful discussions with Honorable Ambassador Dr. James Peter Morgan, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Sudan. They have reaffirmed the enduring good neighborly relations between Kenya and South Sudan and the shared commitment to strengthen the cooperation for the mutual benefit of both countries. Minister Morgan also briefed CS on South Sudan's preparations for its forthcoming elections. Now, they're saying that Kenya remains committed to supporting peace, stability and democratic processes in the region as they continue working together to advance prosperity and regional integration. Governor James Orengo has extended an invitation to former Gender CS Aisha Jumwa to the Linda Mwananchi movement. This comes barely a day after the ex-Malindi MP announced her exit from the United Democratic Alliance. Orengo made the remarks today during a visit to the coast, where he met Jumwa at Kakayuni in Malindi. Orengo's remarks come a day after Jumwa announced that she had quit UDA. Now, speaking during a press conference at her Kakayuni home in Malindi on Thursday, Jumwa said her decision to leave the ruling party followed extensive reflections, prayer and consultations with her supporters.
Nikasema ya kwamba mimi sasa niko tayari kuzungumza na wale ambao ni like-minded kwa sababu ya manufaa ya watu wa Kilifi, Coast and the country at large. So this morning I have received Mheshimiwa, His Excellency the Governor of Siaya and his team. Tumeongea maneno ambayo ni ya faida na mimi nimeweka katika akili yangu, katika moyo wangu. Bado na consult pia na wananchi wa Kilifi County and Coast, lakini nataka niwaambie ya kwamba kule mbele kuzuri.
I came here to make a courtesy call. I couldn't wait any longer because I know Mheshimiwa Waziri has been Raila's daughter. You know, very close to the heart of Raila Amolo Odinga. And in all the political work of Raila Amolo Odinga, when Aisha Jumwa was not there, Raila would not be happy. And she's eloquent, brilliant, and I can say without a matter of without fear of contradiction, the coast has now a leader.
Now, AU Agricultural Commissioner Moses Vilakati has warned that El Nino event expected to peak between November 2026 and February 2027 could become the strongest since 1950, urging governments to prepare for severe climate impacts across the continent. He said the event could bring severe droughts, devastating floods, prolonged heat waves, food shortages, water scarcity, and disease outbreaks.
Therefore, this is not a distant possibility. It is an imminent risk that demands immediate preparation at national, regional, and continental levels. With these projections, Many regions of our continent are likely to experience severe droughts, devastating floods, prolonged heat waves, disruptions to food security, water shortages, disease outbreaks, fire outbreaks, and increased humanitarian needs. These impacts will not only affect vulnerable households, they will also place considerable pressure on national economies, public finances, and regional stability. For example, in the Southern Africa suffered severe droughts that led to 6 countries, being Botswana, Lesotho, Malawi, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, declaring national disasters. The impacts of the 2023-2024 El Nino pushed the SADC region to launch a humanitarian appeal amounting to US $5.5 billion to assist the more than 71 million people who were affected, translating to 17.9% of the SADC population.
A DCP party leader, that is Rigathi Gachagua, is currently addressing leaders from Narok County at his Wamunyoro residence. Let's listen.
Natosha. Wazee wanasema basi, nasema sawa sawa. Huyu tukimpatia asubuhi. Haya nikikaa mwingine analetwa. Nikikaa mwingine analetwa. Mimi nasema ndio. Nikikaa mwingine analetwa. Wakaletwa karibu wanaume 8. Sasa nikauliza hii wazee wote waniambia huyu ni nani? Mimi nikajifanya tu siambii nini nafanya. Nikasema weka mkutano na Narok Town. Kuja nisalimie wananchi. Na wale wote wanataka viti wakuje. So kufika pale nikaongea, nikamaliza, nikapea viongozi, nikamaliza.
Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has launched an ambitious drive to more than double Kenya's bixer production by expanding the number of growers and fully utilizing the country's 3,000-ton annual processing capacity. A move expected to create thousands of new farming and processing jobs while significantly raising rural incomes. Now, speaking during a visit to Kenya Bixer Limited in Kwale County, CS Kagwe said the Agriculture and Food Authority and the coastal county governments will work together to expand production.
Hiyo ndio swali ile kubwa. Kukopa ni rahisi. Kukopa pesa ni rahisi sana. Si kusema ati Nyaga asemi mzuri. Anasema mzuri, lakini mimi nimekuwa customer wa huyu mtu since 1990s. Nimekuwa customer wake miaka mingi. Ukikosa kulipa mwezi mmoja, hawa unaona wakicheka. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri kujua ya kwamba kukopa pesa na ni vizuri ukiwa na mpango kamili. Useme una hiyo shida, unasema unayo. Bixer iko hapa mingi, ni kutoa tu shamba ambayo umekuletea shida. Sasa kutafuta pesa kidogo ya kulipa labor, hiyo ni afadhali, kwa sababu ukishalipwa mara moja unapeleka una offset na unalipa mara moja. Shida inakuwa sasa unachukua pesa ni ya kupanda Bixer na utakaa mwaka mmoja kabla hujauza chochote. Hiyo mwaka moja na hujauza chochote, lazima ujue katika huu mwaka moja nitalipa namna hii. Hiyo sasa mwaka ukianza ndio nitalipa na Bixer. Lakini kutoka vile unapanda wakati wa kupanda mpaka wakati wa kuvuna ni lazima uwe ukifikiria hiyo pesa nitalipa namna gani. Hiyo ni muhimu sana. Tuko pamoja. Usije mkasema waziri alikuja hapa akatuambia tukope, sasa unaona shamba zinauzwa. lakini uzuri wa vile amesema ukiwa na cooperative ndio inakopa. Unaona sasa hiyo ni afadhali kidogo, kwa sababu cooperative can negotiate as a cooperative and they can finance the cooperative. Hiyo ndio kitu mzuri. Kwa hivyo the reason tulikuja na hawa ni pia kuwajua naona wako hapa.
Now, police officers from Ololua police station in Kajiado North have arrested a middle-aged man after he was found cultivating cannabis sativa in his farm. Kajiado North Police Commander Felix Muli said the officers received a tip-off from members of the public early today and responded to the scene where they discovered cannabis plants at various stages of growth. Some of the plants were in seedbeds, while others had been planted in containers. Muli said the suspect, who is believed to have been living alone, is being questioned as police conduct further investigations to establish the scale of the operation and whether other people were involved.
Kupata habari kutoka kwa mwananchi mmoja ya kwamba kuna mtu anakusa banki katika hii area ambayo inaitwa area ya Imani. Tuliweza kukimbia hapa pamoja na maofisa yetu na tukapata hii plot ambayo ni 1/8 of a quarter. Ukiangalia utaona ya kwamba kuna banki kweli inakuzwa, iko katika stages tofauti. Kuna ile ambayo iko kwa nursery, kuna ingine ambayo inaendelea kukuzwa, kuna ingine ambayo inakaa kama ilikuwa inafunwa, ingine imepandwa katika mikebe. Na tuko na mshukiwa mmoja ambayo anaishi kwa hii nyumba peke yake, mwanaume wa miaka kama 40 hivi. Niseme ya kwamba tunaendelea kumoji ili tuweze kujua habari zaidi na tuweze kujua kama kuna wengine ambao wanashirikiana nao katika huu uhalifu.
Upandaji wa bangi ama huu mmea ambao tumekuwa discovered hapa umeharibu vijana wengi. Sasa tutaendelea na uchunguzi tujue kwamba huu mmea mpandaji ama mshukiwa alianza kufanya hii biashara lini.
All right, away from that, Mama Ida Odinga and Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Nasir are championing for the promotion of ECDE learning centers as they open the Mama Ida Odinga ECD and Daycare Center in Miritini, Jomvu, Mombasa County. And the leaders were accompanied by the leadership of the Mombasa County.
That's close to 30 years. I've worked in education because I always believe that every child is gifted. Hakuna yule mtoto ambaye anazaliwa bure. Kila mtoto anazaliwa na kitu. Our responsibility as adults is not to determine which child will succeed. Our responsibility is to create and provide opportunity for these children to go to school and learn something.
Mimi nikiwa mbunge wa Jomvu kumweleza Mama Aida ambaye ni mgeni wetu wa heshima, kama hapa Miritini tulipochukua hatamu ya uongozi, shule ilikuwa moja peke yake, Miritini Primary School. Leo hii Mama Aida, watu wote unawaona hapa walikuwa wakivuka wakenda Mwamdudu ambako ni Kwale County, lakini mimi Mheshimiwa Badi Twalib nilisimama kidete nikaanzisha Maganda Primary School hii ambayo iko hapa leo.
For us here on K24 Shortcuts at 4, my name is Brian Amwai. Do have yourselves a lovely evening.
K24TV, our shared experience.
time into an unforgettable adventure with sour, long-lasting bath soap.
Praise the living God. I am Evangelist Lucy Wagojiri from K24TV. I am coming to you with a new program, Moments of Grace and Hope for our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, when evil escalates, when pain is within us, when we don't know what to do next, what do we do? And the answer is one, ladies and gentlemen. To get the nation back on her feet, we must get down on our knees. 2 Chronicles 7:14. And God will never go.
K24TV, our shared experience. Thank you for watching K24. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up. Let us know what you need, what you don't like, and why. You can reach us on Facebook, X, TikTok, and WhatsApp. K24TV, our shared experience. K24TV, our shared experience. K24TV, our shared experience. K24CTV, what's happening now? Thank you for watching K24. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up. Let us know what you need, what you don't like, and why. You can reach us on Facebook, X, TikTok, and WhatsApp. K24TV, our shared experience. K24CTV, what's happening now?
Mortality rate. People have to become more aware of their bodies, their cycles. There are people with irregular cycles should be aware of their days, their dates. Yeah. Something else is for healthcare providers, they should ensure they take a comprehensive history of the menstrual cycle, the sexual history, and the contraceptive history.
K24CTV, what's happening now?
Cooking, boiling, or making ugali does not remove aflatoxin. If contaminated maize gets into your flour, the toxin can still end up on your plate. The government has issued a serious warning. Aflatoxin is back in our markets and it could be hiding in the food we eat every day. Aflatoxin is a dangerous toxin produced by mold that grows on poorly stored maize, millet, sorghum, or groundnuts. You can't always see it, smell it, or taste it. Yet, it can cause liver cancer, weaken the immune system, and stunt children's growth. Many people exposed over time may not become sick immediately, with health effects appearing years later. Recent Calro tests found some cereal samples containing aflatoxin levels as high as 500 parts per billion. That's 50 times above the safe limit of 10 parts per billion. Kenya has experienced deadly aflatoxin outbreaks before. The CDC reported that the 2004 outbreak caused 125 recognized deaths and described it as
K24CTV, what's happening now?
kuna wamadhi wengine wazee alijifungua na huko yana kona mimba. My name is Herbert Joroge. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a psychological first aider for children. I work at Ruiru at Maisha Upendo Clinic. Crippling pregnancy is a pregnancy whereby the woman herself or the healthcare provider, the pregnancy might go undetected until sometimes into late gestation. Anyone is at risk, but mostly women who have conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, whereby missed periods are the case. So at times, a missed period may go unnoticed, and by the time the lady, the woman notices, she's already in labor or late in gestation. So there are several mechanisms that explain why a pregnancy can go undetected. There are cases like low HCG levels. Remember, the HCG is produced once the pregnancy is already forming. So low HCG levels or the dilute urine can bring false negative results. Other things like bleeding, implantation bleeding might occur while still during pregnancy, and it might be confused for menstruation. So people who are in continuous use of contraceptives, contraception helps you prevent pregnancy, but it's not always 100% sure. Other things that can put you into risk are things like high BMI. Sometimes people increased abdominal changes might be missed in high BMI patients. People who have maybe previous cases of negative pregnancy, so they have that infertility. Yeah, so they think they are not able to conceive. Remember, this woman or this pregnancy has gone, nobody has noticed it from the woman to the healthcare provider. So there's quite a number of dangers and complications the woman is exposed to. For example, preterm labor, the lady might get into labor quite early. Something else is maternal conditions. Remember, this pregnancy was not detected. There was no antenatal screening. So conditions like preeclampsia, gestational diabetes might not go unnoticed, which might lead to complications that may lead to death and increase the maternal mortality rate. In the Kenyan context of maternal mortality rate, the maternal mortality rate is significant, but undetected cases like crippling pregnancy worsen the maternal mortality rate. People have to become more aware of their bodies, their cycles. There are people with irregular cycles should be aware of their days, their dates. Yeah. Something else is for healthcare providers, they should ensure they take a comprehensive history of the menstrual cycle, the sexual history, and the contraceptive history.
K24TV. What's happening now?
We continue to make sense of the events here in the country. And of course, let's just continue a little bit on this conversation on the state of the nation, even as we wait for Waruku on a conversation around the state of education here in the country. Makena, let me begin with you on the kind of leadership that we need as a country and whether we are at that particular space at this particular moment. Do we have the leaders we deserve, or do we deserve more as a people? And most of the time, some people argue and say, okay, the leadership is actually a reflection of who you are as a country.
There is some truth. There is some truth into that statement, because looking at how our politics is played, and especially during the campaign period, and what we have seen over time is trying to lure our voters into voting in a certain direction. You know, you are brought the merchandise, you are brought the money, but then the question is, do you understand that the 200 bob that you are getting from this politician, you are saying, I am comfortable with having the 200 bob, but postponing, or you know, I'm not concerned about the state of the healthcare or education, you know, because I am from Meru, and there is a song that has just been released, and it's actually very fascinating because this artist is saying, yes, the politician is giving you 200, and then you stand and ask what's the why they cannot action or work on the road that is next to you. But you ate the 200 bob. You need to make a choice. Is it the 200 bob or is it the infrastructure that you need, you know? Because the amount of the money that you spend on the campaign is crazy. For you to even win a seat as simple as the MCA seats, you need at least 5 million, and it varies. That is probably in the rural areas. If you come to Nairobi, the amount is even higher. So, and then you ask yourself, how much does an MCA earn every month for them to actually be able to cover the finances or the funds that they use during the campaign period?
In that process of campaign, and the money that is used, these funds, I don't know if you have an idea, but where do they go in terms of what exactly do they do?
Well, we have a campaign financing act in this country, and every candidate is supposed to tell or reveal their sources of the campaign finances that they are using. So if it's from donors, if it's from individual savings, you have to account to every cent that you're using on the campaign. And also the commission has a role to put a cap. I think it's 12 months to elections, and say this is the amount every leader is allowed to spend during this campaign period. So we are also waiting on that, on the IEBC, to make that revelation that as we are heading to 2027 elections, this is the amount of money that you know, you are expected to spend and not beyond. But then that has not been the issue over the years. Of course, the recent case, billions or millions has been spent in Ol Kalau, and the government has argued, okay, it's part of the special programs, it's part of the development projects. But then the question is, why now? And is it just Ol Kalau? Why are we not seeing development in other areas that surround, you know, Ol Kalau, you know? So it's quite concerning, and such amounts are making it hard for even us, the young people, to run for these elective seats. Because I might have the right agenda, but then how will I compete with Kamau, who has the backing of the entire state?
The entire state. Vincent, money is spent on the campaign. Most of the time it will be argued, okay, we need this particular money to be able to move around, you know, sound system, merchandise, a t-shirt, a cape here and there. And however, is that all this money does? When you say we are looking for 5 million to actually look for an MCA seat, is that all that this money does, or we are looking for this money for other things to some extent during this campaign period?
You know, the money could have been used better, but some people use them to hire goons. And we've seen this across, I would say, all by-elections that we have seen. Some costs are inflated. So the money issue in campaigns, and you see, I would agree with her on this. If an MCA spends 5 million bob and their pay is way below than that, then deductively, as I was taught, then it means that they would refund themselves that money from the roads you are supposed to receive in your region, from the books that they were supposed to go to the schools, from the medicines that were supposed to go to the hospitals. They would refund themselves. And luckily enough, our nation is going to a point whereby it's the people who are funding the aspirants. And I think it's a very interesting conversation that we are having right now, that, you know, we are giving you the money because we trust your ideas. We trust that, you know, you will do the job that we've given to you. So I would encourage the young people that the conversation is starting to change. You don't have to fear right now that you don't have the money. I once campaigned with 1,000 bob.
What were you going for?
I just to be campus politics or something, because that is not enough even for nomination.
But you see, the beauty of the thing is the people love my ideas and they voted for me. And you are seeing that is happening even right now.
1,000 bob is not practical though.
I can tell you for sure it was 1,000 bob. I can produce my records anytime.
When was that? And what was that money doing?
I mean, it was not a long time ago. Well, what I did was I just did some few posters with what I wanted to do.
Oh, so it was just the posters?
But the campaign goes beyond the whatever you show the people. I believe a campaign is more of ideas. What are you proposing to the people?
But is that what the voter is? Okay, and that's what I'm asking. That we have a voter that looks for more than just your ideas.
That is the voter of the past. Now we are dealing with an AI voter.
See, there was a voter in Olkalau. You know that?
but you saw what happens.
But
you saw what
there was
happened.
still a voter in Olkalau that was asking for more.
They will take your money, yes. But if you are not a modern politician, then you will fall to that trap. The voter of today, I will tell you here, they are not looking at how deep your pockets are. They are looking at, can we trust you? If you say that you're going to... Why are we looking
at this voter? Let me come to you, McKenna. Why are we looking at this voter of today as if this voter of today was just born the other day? Because this voter of today has also existed in the past 3-4 elections and has been demanding more than just an idea. Right? So all of a sudden we had a Damascus moment and said, okay, we are no longer asking for money during campaigns and what you are able to offer. We are asking for what idea do you have?
I would say we all know the law of demand and supply. So let's not act like there is a saint in between. The voter is not a saint and the politician is not a saint as well. So it is the demand from the citizens that create the supply, you know, from the politicians. Because when you go to even just speak in a campaign rally, yes, I have very good ideas, but what I have seen before, I voted only once in this country. So when during the 2022 general elections, the campaign rallies that I attended, or rather even the gatherings, you could hear, yes, this politician has very good ideas. They are speaking to what I would love to hear as a voter. But then you will hear them speaking, the citizens themselves speaking amongst themselves. Okay, so what are you bringing right now? Okay, it's okay, you're going to do what you're telling us you're going to do. But the assumption is when every politician gets into office, the first thing is to, you know, try to gather as much as possible for themselves before they can even consider the problems of the people. So people are like, what do you have now? You know, it's okay, I will vote for you, but you know, I cannot wait for 2027 for me to have my dinner tonight. You know, and it's an issue and it's a cycle that, you know, has been created because every Kenyan right now, as I said, most Kenyans go to bed without even a meal the entire day. So if this politician is coming to me and they can solve my immediate needs, then I will receive that money because I cannot say no to the 300 shillings and I don't know where I get my next meal.
So we are not a long-term kind of citizen that we are looking at the long-term benefit, we are looking at the short-term benefit. Why is that the case though? Is it because of our economic situation as a country that maybe the system has failed to address?
I don't think we are there yet, honestly. We are still grappling with also just the basic needs as a country. The basic needs of food, shelter, housing, you know, health, and all that. So, and you remember when I mentioned about the issue to do with corruption as a country. If we wanted to address these issues, they could be addressed, but we choose to steal everything and leave the common mwananchi struggling. You know, when we look at the debt, the Kenyan debt right now, we are at 13 trillion, and a majority of that debt is actually domestic debt, which has higher interest actually, on the contrary. And the contradiction is that we are borrowing and then we are stealing. I mean, how do you even steal a debt? It doesn't add up. If we were borrowing for development, because that's what borrowing should be done for, we are not saying having a debt is bad altogether, but if you are borrowing for development, then that would make sense. But you are borrowing, but you are also stealing at the same rate that you are borrowing. Then at what point are you going to solve the common problems that the common citizen is facing? So that's why they are going to be dependent, and they are not going to vote based on the manifesto, you know, and the ideas, you know, especially those at the marginalized areas. They are probably going to vote for the person, you know, that is solving the problem right now, right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vincent, there is the manifesto, there is the idea, there is the selling of hope to the people. Most of the time we get to see that the people will be asking, okay, so what are you bringing to the table? What will you do for us? But however, I find that a little bit tricky, because most of the time we believe in what than the how it is supposed actually to be done. We pressure the political class to tell us the good things that we want to hear. I'm going to uplift people at the bottom of the pyramid and bring them on the same level as you know, all those that have been employed and things like that. I'm going to create employment. I'm going to make healthcare better. I'm going to, you know, make education affordable. But the how about it, we don't really get to question as a people. How do we make a difference during this particular campaign period when it comes to assessing and just, you know, analyzing the leaders that we really do want?
I mean, just to begin at it is, I tend to disagree that, and I tend to have the idea of the voter of Kenya have changed. And you see, the gentleman.
You see, this voter is the same one that is complaining about what they voted for in 2022.
But you see, they are now contributing for the MP from Ol Kalou to even buy a suit. When I saw him the first time when I was there, he was looking like a, you know, I don't want to call them
so
that
you
name
believe we
because
had a drastic change.
Because of what they've undergone. They've seen betrayal firsthand. They've seen someone speaking so very nice things. The kids, I would want to call them kids. The Gen Zs are still waiting for laptops until, I think there is even reason why they are really mad at everything.
The regime that promised laptops already left her.
But you see, it's not about the regime, it's about whose pocket.
but
you know,
he was not speaking solo.
This is a debt that has not been paid. You know, and I think it's a debt that needs to be paid. These Gen Zs, everyone needs a laptop for themselves. I think it's a debt they need to be paid. But I think the voter of Kenya today has really transformed. They've taken a new view of how they look at leadership, how they look at campaigns, how they look at my manifesto. If you see a Kenyan voter today willing to contribute for Vincent, personally I've received invites that Vincent, please come and vie for this seat here.
We shall finance you.
We shall finance.
What is stopping you?
You just come. You know, you know. And you see, this shift is very interesting in Kenya right now. I have so far received 4 across the whole nation saying, Vincent, come. So I even don't know where to go, but I will choose.
It's a good thing that
what I'm trying to say is there is a shift, and when people suffer, and I was waiting for them to suffer, so that they know that when it comes to election is a matter of life and death, and not the election result, but just the election in itself dictates how you're going to live in the next 5 years. If you make a wrong choice, you will be
have to pay for that.
Begging for the next 5 years.
Good.
So.
Now I'm taking your final remarks.
Final.
Final. All right. Okay, Faith, when you speak to young voters, and their promises are going to come, we will listen to all these good things from this political club. How do we make discern and say, make a good decision and just even assess this particular politician in a minute?
There is a lot of civic education that needs to be done in this country. I think the civil society is doing a good job yet, but we have not reached everyone, especially the people at the grassroots. They need to be educated enough to see what should they even assess when a candidate is coming to ask for their votes, for example, So I think it's cause for all of us to take up the space, and also after voting in, I think the Constitution gives us both the rights and the responsibility. One of the responsibilities to vote, but then the problem of most people is they end their responsibility at that. Tumepiga kura, bas. But then it goes beyond that. Are you showing up for public participation, for example? When the plans are being done for this country, is your voice being heard? Are you holding the leaders accountable? If let's use Sifuna. If Sifuna tells us we will now going forward be having free health access or free education, how do we hold this leader accountable? And what are we putting in place such that if he's not doing this, then you have to leave because you're not living up to your promise? That's the problem that you're having in this country. The current government promised us heaven, but well, I don't want to say it's giving us hell, but you all know the things are not as good.
If you're feeling hell, going back, you don't dismiss that. You're feeling. Vincent, final remarks, 30 seconds.
For me, I would want to call the young people out against being used as goons. I think it is one thing that I am 100% against. I received a message from one gentleman who was acting on behalf of the by-election in Malava. He sent me his photos and devastating.
Okay.
Crazy. And then you see this, you might not know what is going to happen to you when you're outside there. You might be killed, you might be injured, but I think as we are going with this conversation, I think let's continue contributing.
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue contributing. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just repeating what he said. Thank you so please. Thank you so much for your time, lady and gentleman, and being part of this conversation here on set. All right, that does it for us here on the program. Up next is Politics.
K24TV. What's happening now?
Kuna madhi wengine wazee alijifungua na huko na kona mimba. My name is Herbert Joroge. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a psychological first aider for children. I work at Ruiru at Maisha Upendo Clinic. Crippling pregnancy is a pregnancy whereby the woman herself or the healthcare provider, the pregnancy might go undetected until sometimes into late gestation. Anyone is at risk, but mostly women who have conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, whereby missed periods are the case. So at times, a missed period may go unnoticed, and by the time the lady, the woman notices, she's already in labor or late in gestation. So there are several mechanisms that explain why a pregnancy can go undetected. There are cases like low HCG levels. Remember, the HCG is produced once the pregnancy is already forming. So low HCG levels or the dilute urine can bring false negative results. Other things like bleeding, implantation bleeding might occur while still during pregnancy, and it might be confused for menstruation. So people who are in continuous use of contraceptives, contraception helps you prevent pregnancy, but it's not always 100%.
What if ungepata all you love to watch in one place? Kutoka action movies, African movies, masoap, maseries, hata makatuni za watoi za kuwa.
K24TV. What's happening now?
Kuna madhi wengine wazee alijifungua na huko yana kona mimba. My name is Herbert Joroge. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a psychological first aider for children. I work at Ruiru at Pansha Upendo Clinic. Crippling pregnancy is the pregnancy whereby the woman herself or the healthcare provider, the pregnancy might go undetected until sometimes into late gestation. Anyone is at risk, but mostly women who have conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, whereby missed periods are the case. So at times, a missed period may go unnoticed, and by the time the lady, the woman notices, she's already in labor or late in gestation. So there are several mechanisms that explain why a pregnancy can go undetected. There are cases like low HCG levels. Remember, the HCG is produced once the pregnancy is already forming. So low HCG levels or the dilute urine can bring false negative results. Other things like bleeding, implantation bleeding might occur while still during pregnancy, and it
All right, thank you so much for staying with us here on the program. This is Politox, and of course we do want to get into our conversation. You're looking at the free education promises and what the realities are. Boaz Waruku, who is Elimu Bora Working Group Policy Advisor, joins us this particular morning for this conversation. Hello, Boaz.
Good morning. Yeah, morning. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. The most important thing is you're here and we're going to have an awesome conversation. Much appreciated for your time.
Thank you so much.
I'd like us to start with, the president made a statement. Right now we are having a conversation around issues to do with free education. Yeah. It is a statement that has been welcomed by many. Others are questioning, where exactly do we get the money? The head of state, did allay those fears and say, I know you are asking these questions. Yes. However, don't worry, we shall have this particular money to make sure that you actually have free education. However, what I'd like you to paint for me a picture, what the pattern has been when it comes to the funding of education here in the country, that now we need to have this conversation at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, and it is a pleasure to be here having this conversation. From a Limubora Working Group standpoint, the statement made by the President was 100% welcome and remains so. And we do not want a change on it because we think it is. We don't just think it is. We've done analysis in the past. If you remember, among the people that have been calling for free and compulsory basic education to be implemented in full, that was us. And then the President's statement was that tertiary education would also be supported. The students would be supported in full. And when that statement is made, the President doesn't just talk to entertain people. That seat he occupies, whoever occupies that seat, when they utter those statements, it means a lot. And let me walk you back to what that means. Because in 2002, when the campaigns for the change of guard towards the end of Moi reign, you realize that at that particular moment, Kenyans really were angry and said we need to invest a little bit more in education so that then we can open opportunities for our younger ones in the future. At that point, Moi actually said categorically, he'd been the president for 24 years. He had been the vice president for over 10 years. He said he knows the resources Kenya has cannot support that. And Makiu, that one was just for basic education at the primary level, not basic education for all 12 years. He said he's been the one in charge of that, you know. And you can't, those who were in that space at the time, some tended to believe him. And then others like ourselves who say, no, what he's talking about is simply because there's not been serious discipline and accountability and robust collection of our resources so as to be directed to what matters most. And that is where the proposition about there must be free and compulsory basic education foundation was laid. And when NAC declared it is possible, it became possible. Kibaki said he had been a vice president. He was also finance minister. And he said now with that kind of experience, he knows that it is possible. And immediately after winning, remember he created that team of three. I know they supported by technocrats, the team of three, Professor Saitoti as the education minister, Anyang' Nyong'o as planning, Mwirari as finance. He said, we promise we must deliver. Didn't we deliver it? It was delivered. We saw an 80-year-old Kimani Maruge walk into school that I want to register. Primary, that's standard 1 at that time. Now it is grade 1. And he said, every time I wanted to go to school, the barriers of fees and many things being demanded kept me away, and I couldn't be supported. But I want a situation where I can read my Bible myself. I know tamu wa kujua kusoma. I think that's what he was saying. So in other words, the fee issue, once we finance education, it opens opportunities for so many. Those who benefit, there are people who derive lots of benefit. So that foundation, I'm bringing it from there because that was Moi the president stating that it is not possible. Then Kibaki, just newly elected, he said it is possible. So you see those frame of mind. And I say that it's basically the political goodwill that can enable this to happen. Fast forward to where we are. Because where we are, it is where now Ruto declared just the other day that he wants to ensure that tertiary education, the students who sit exams and get placed in the TVETs, the other colleges there, and the universities, that they'll receive full support. Listening to Ruto, he was actually replaying a skit that was there at the formation 2002 going up. Because the conversation then was when you are supporting education, when you are dealing with basic education, that is how the indicators saying that free means free. Free means everyone who should be in the educational institutions at that time should be in there. And two, that once they are in there, they get the support as learners, pupils or students as learners, so that they get to learn. Three, that while they are in there, there is quality because we have teachers or instructors or lecturers, whichever formation, all those, let me just call them teachers. Lecturers are teachers. And that once they are also in there, the needs, educational needs, resources required to ensure that the learning materials, the teaching aid, everything in that school, the laboratories at whatever level, that those are provided so that there's quality in there. That is part of what constitutes full. Full means you remove the load from the back of the parent and center it on taxpayers' money, because the funds that the government promises to put there are taxpayers' money. And for us, we say full is 100% full, 100% not 99.9999 full.
So full, anything that needs to be catered as far as education is concerned should be catered for.
Now that is the foundation I've said. And we say that I was looking at it on the basis of presidential statements. The current President Ruto has no luxury of speaking the way he did, in as much as we hold him accountable for that. And we actually endorse that statement. But we remind him that there's an Article 135 of our Constitution, that the decisions that the President makes must be in written.
Must be in written.
And so that as of now, we would be looking at that statement in a written form, not the verbalized. But he pointed at us to the Parliament. He said there's a bill. And we are looking at that bill so that when we are able to tell him, when you say free, these are the components that mean free. And when you are talking about them, know that a plan without a budget is just an indoto. Yeah, you would not be able to actualize it.
All right. You know, you've painted a picture of exactly where we started from. You've mentioned Kimani Marugi, and I remember being young and actually watching him on TV, actually go to school and all that. And to some extent, it was the epitome of what free education could actually do. Right now, when we look at tertiary education, it has become a little bit expensive. We've seen, your group actually coming out to call out on some of these issues, parents actually lamenting. What is the real cost of education when we look back, and now that even as we look forward to the statement by the head of state and hoping that it actually gets to materialize, the real cost of education in this country, what has it cost the students of this country?
Okay. Well, Brian, you know, this a similar statement was posed to the CS education in Naivasha last year. The media captured it. The parliamentarians were not happy and said the delivery of education is suffering because we probably have no idea what it would cost to educate a child from kindergarten to primary. Secondary now, at that time we are talking of junior secondary, senior secondary, tertiary and all that. And they asked, how much does it cost to educate a child at those various levels? The CS owned up and said he didn't know. He was actually told to ensure that he has that knowledge, because without that information, then when you're going to ask Parliament to allocate resources, what are the standards that you're using? What are the indicators? So there are people, we called it out, that they are lying on the job, because they would have just come to us at the time when we were saying we wanted a pot, education fund. Before these other funds started coming up, the infrastructure fund, this sovereign wealth fund, we said we required a pot that would support education. And we said that pot would have all these monies, including the ones for bursaries, including where you was talking of scholarships, all those funds, the presidential schemes, the governor's schemes, the CDF, the GAF, all this, the MCS fund, because even all those guys were having them. We said all that money plus an allocation directly given on the basis of what are the learning needs at that level. And in that case, because then you start looking at what are the instructional material required and how much do they cost. That quantification is required, and it is an alliance between KICD, the curriculum gurus, and the anchors of the curriculum, because they know what it requires to deliver a curriculum. And it will come to the TSC, because they'll be asked, you know, the number of teachers required to ensure that this learning takes place through that level. And then at the school level, administratively, the things that is required to ensure that the learning environment there is safe, conducive, protective, and supportive of learning. So that at that particular moment, the aspects that the child goes in there and they have literature that they can read, that the teachers themselves have got guides that would help them, that the teachers, even as that, including even assessment materials, that they can quickly and easily adapt, you know, all those details. And as of now, because by the way, we resonate with what the Constitution says, because everything must be done in harmony with what that Constitution says. Like Article 19 of the Constitution, they say any policy, economic, social policy, that has to be done must acquiesce with that Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights, that's why I started by picking up Article 43, but then more precisely, go to Article 53. Article 53, besides guaranteeing basic education free and compulsory for every child, it also guarantees that that child should be supported to have meals. It is the one that outlaws hunger in school, you know. So in other words, when the president pronounced himself, some of us really smiled and said, we hope he understands what it means. We hope he's not just talking from the top of his head. Because what it means is that those PP1, PP2, primary 1, going all that primary 6, that they'll be having some lunch or some school meals will be provided. Not the 3 billion that is putting in the budget for less than 2.5 million children, which compared to over 14 million children that we have. So in other words, the complex, okay, I don't want to put it at the complexity, but the understanding, wrapping all that round so that you are able to say, this is what we'll require to provide this education, which is fully supported by my government. That's what he said. Fully supported by his government. And we were clear that at the basic education level, that one is non-negotiable. It is already guaranteed. He has been just failing on fully implementing it. At the tertiary level, that is where we are saying, kudos, President, because that is a new terrain. And indeed, it is a new terrain, but you are trying to help address a mistake you yourself made. In 2022, is the one who came up, actually in 2023, when he introduced this so-called learner-centered model of university funding, moving it away also from the differentiated cost. And I need to disclose that at that time, we had, having done the analysis we did, Kenya Human Rights Commission, Limubora, and the student caucus, that is of leaders of the students from a number of universities, and myself as a person, Boaz Warukos, we were 4 petitioners. We petitioned that that introduction of that model was going to mess up the future of many. And indeed, when the president spoke, the aspects you were mentioning is what he said. You remember, let me just...
Should we have taken it into consideration when actually the warning was given by you guys initially?
At the time, unfortunately, Brian, what normally happens is our policy makers make policies not on the basis of Article 19 of the Constitution that I mentioned. That it is a demand, it's a command, it is not an advisory. It is saying that every time you're taking a policy decision, an action or formulation, it must acquiesce with education and training for the young people, because generally those who have gone beyond basic education become adults. I know some get there even when they're 16 and 17, but they are largely getting into the adulthood. The 99% of them are basically 18 years and above. And those are the young people, the youth, that Article 55 guarantees them. the right to have access and affordable education and training at those levels. And so that's why when we were saying kudos, we said, you have thought the way we have been thinking.
Okay.
Because our analysis provide that the resources Kenya has put together and education prioritized, and that those resources directed to education without corruption, targeted on the needs of each and every area. That's equity.
Okay.
Ensuring that we have standard schools, we have good facilities and all that, that the resources we have in Kenya can afford to educate our children and the youth in the tertiary colleges and universities to the highest level that they desire. And so that when you asked, when you are challenging and telling them these things would happen, part of what we were saying, you know, they brought that funding model, and the first things first, they indicated the fee structures. Very huge fee structures. Nobody had ever seen those fee structures in this particular country. I'm aware of many parents who try to go to the neighboring countries, Tanzania, Uganda, and all, just to ensure that they escape from this. Because this, when, for instance, the first fee structures they had, the highest was 720,000 per child per year, doing medicine and dentistry at that time.
Super expensive, right?
And then, you know, you're putting that on the portal, and these people, no other explanation has been provided how that will be even gotten. You remember, I think, if you may not remember, let me refresh, because this is the daily work I do, analysis and just searching that. What happened is that 24,500 students who had attained C+ and above just gave it a wide berth. They said, no way, I can't get myself into that. It scared some of them. Even when the ministry started explaining, oh, we will be providing some scholarship component, we'll then also provide some bursaries, not bursaries, bursaries are something aside, not bursaries, bursaries are something aside, scholarship and loans. That you see, we will assess you using what they are calling a means testing instrument. That means testing instrument would be able to tell us how poor you are, so that we put you in the appropriate band, if you are in band 1, band 2, band 3, based on the poverty level of your household. And those are some of the things we're saying, my friend. Our children are never born poor. All are born naked and very resourceful at the point. None is born with a silver platter or anything golden. We said all our children are not poor. They are all rich. The only thing is now when you are looking at the material wealth, some acquired by families that you would not also be able to do, they have been deprived. So the resources that could be accruing to them, they have been deprived. That's why some cannot even afford meals in a day. So we said the moment you start by reminding them how poor they are, you are interfering with their psychology in terms of focusing and studying. And so we said, you can imagine a child, I mean, somebody has performed well, an A grade, and then you are going to put them on a corner X and say those are the very poor. In fact, we kept on reminding them, do you know how the medical field had to rise above this idea of always calling people by, not cancer, because in the villages, you know, those very the sexually transmitted diseases, and in the local language, watu wa fulani kujeni hapa, you know how traumatizing that is. So we told them that the same way you are going to tell this student you are the most poor. You can imagine it's like it's written on the forehead. You are going to the class and you are considered poor. The young people through the student caucus also said, you know, we are not even able to approach the ladies who see us as very poor. And that is dehumanizing. That is against the dignity as in Article 28. So we challenge that. But we also say it is discriminatory. Discrimination, because there's no way now you start saying, I can give you more and this one less and this. Because even if you are using the means testing, the resources are for the parents.
Okay.
We said let it be guaranteed for all. But also, the third thing that we challenged, why the court declared it unconstitutional, we said it did not go through the due process of public participation as per Article 10 of the Constitution. And in that case, the courts agreed and actually struck that out as unconstitutional. The reason why they continued is with the implementation is because of an appeal process, which appeal process has not ended. So we may not get into the details of how that works. But back to the question that why you are asking and saying, the essence of just looking at why we required compulsory basic education and now full support for university and TVET college students. It's because that is the right thing that Kenya can do, and that the resources Kenya has are enough, only that we do not prioritize it well. We do not consider education as critical Kenya's national interest number one, and direct resources and avoid corruption so that, you also don't put resources there and pull it away like the ghost schools that we've been seeing and such. Yes.
And that has been a subject of conversation, especially on the issues to do with the ghost schools. However, I want to wind up on this conversation. I'd like to understand the kind of damage that has been done, because the head of state did acknowledge, we tried this, it has failed, so right now we need to take a different kind of direction, mentioning universities, of course, being struggling here and there. What is the damage that has been done for the past 2 or 3 years with the model that we've been using that we could actually seek to correct with this new one?
Yeah, thank you. You have siblings, definitely. But, where we come from, siblings don't have to come through your mom and dad.
Exactly.
They are all over. And I know they're approaching you every day. Just send a small money. I cannot even eat. I cannot do this. That is for those who have remained in college. Many have dropped out of college. And indeed, I think the statistics which we have been asking our registrars of the universities to provide us, I think that's a process we are still ongoing to assess right from the 2023 to 2025 is an assessment that we are doing. And we want to ascertain that the number of students that are still being retained within the pipeline. How many are there? But there's a massive dropout. For instance, I think in a number of the medical schools, you'll find that more than 50% of the students have had challenges. By the quick analysis we did, that was in 2024, because that is the starting point when it started to bite. At that time, we were actually told one of the medical schools had over 66 students away at home, and most of them were girls, because kuna vile vijana kama nyinyi, you'll be able to find your way around and even eat. But for a girl, first, they do not have full support. They do not have what to eat. They opted to go back and have the Arambes organized, approach the CDFs and these other institutions to support them for bursary just to survive.
K24TV. What's happening now?
That may lead to death and increase the maternal mortality rate. In the Kenyan context of maternal mortality rate, the maternal mortality rate is significant, but undetected cases like cryptic pregnancy worsen the maternal mortality rate. People have to become more aware of their bodies, their cycles. There are people with irregular cycles should be aware of their days, their dates. Something else is for healthcare providers, they should ensure they take a comprehensive history of the menstrual cycle, the sexual history, and the contraceptive history.
K24TV. What's happening now?
Cooking, boiling, or making ugali does not remove aflatoxin. If contaminated maize gets into your flour, the toxin can still end up on your plate. The government has issued a serious warning. aflatoxin is back in our markets and it could be hiding in the food we eat every day. Aflatoxin is a dangerous toxin produced by mold that grows on poorly stored maize, millet, sorghum or groundnuts. You can't always see it, smell it or taste it, yet it can cause liver cancer, weaken the immune system and stunt children's growth. Many people exposed over time may not become sick immediately, with health effects appearing years later. Recent Calro tests found some cereal samples containing aflatoxin levels as high as 500 parts per billion. That's 50 times above the safe limit of 10 parts per billion. Kenya has experienced deadly aflatoxin outbreaks before. The CDC reported that the 2004 outbreak caused 125 recognized deaths and described it as
K24TV. What's happening now?
Handed over to President William Ruto last week by Professor Hiroyuki Hino as well as Professor Anyang' Nyong'o after reviewing and examining Kenya's vision beyond 2030. And the report was dubbed the journey towards a first world country. And while we were questioning that, we had one of the panelists here in studio, that is Samson Collins, who is a civic educator as well as an aspirant in Thika there, saying that he disagrees with the pace we are at towards that direction to a first world country, and his reason partly being the presence of goons in the country. So Collins, if you can pick it up from where you left on goons.
Yes, thank you. We are descending into a bad country called Haiti. And this is unfortunate because we are entering to a general election. And if these things and this culture continue like this, I am not foreseeing an election that is going to be conducted in 2027. And when you look at the people who are using these goons, clearly they can be seen. A PS called Raymond Omol. It has been seen in pictures with some of the goons who attacked Ososi in Kisumu. So it's government people that we have employed with our own taxpayers' money, using these taxes, and misusing young people, taking advantage, weaponizing how the unemployed they are, and the poverty they have been exposed to, and use them as goons. All right. We saw a church, I think in, if I'm not wrong, the Hossein Cathedral being attacked by goons. So these goons are even getting into, churches. We have seen the same goons, and we no longer call them goons. They are becoming terrorists because they are causing anarchy, mayhem, chaos and terror in this country in broad daylight. All right. So Kenya is not in the right track. You look at everything that should make sure that our economy is developing. Almost everything is crumbling. Is it the healthcare? We are talking of a new program called SHA that was just launched, I think, a year, with over 104 billion. And subsequently, you've seen the kind of corruption that has descended into that program. The Auditor General, I think, Nazi Katungu, less than 4 months ago, she revealed a 50 billion share ripoff. And the response we got from one William Ruto is some people are mad. So he called a constitutional office like that of the Auditor General and the people, Kenyans, who are distributing these reports that 50 billion had been ripped off from SHA. Mad people. Kenya is not on the right track. Our education sector is crumbling. We are talking of 80 shillings being sent to a CBE student to cater for a whole term. And that means the rest is left with the parents to cater for it. We are talking of universities which are collapsing. And in fact, the reports are more university students are dropping out of school for the same issues that we keep on raising it and everything. Looking at our public debt, God forbid if William Ruto forces himself back to Kenyans again in 2027, then we'll be talking of 20 trillion. Because I can tell you frankly, By the time we get to the next general election, we'll be talking of 14 trillion, because at this point we are at 13 trillion. So this country needs leadership. This country needs leaders, not politicians like him who thrive in this PR that we've been sold here and the political convenience we are seeing from one William Ruto. All right? So this country needs leaders who uphold the values that are enshrined in our constitutions. And those are the building blocks and the foundation this country has yearned for and has lacked for a long time. And that leader, frankly, it is Edwin Wakenya Sifuna. Thank you.
All right, Barbara, on our journey to a first world country, are we moving at the right pace?
When we talk about the journey to moving to the first world country, it should start from down here, from the wananchi. So to me, we are on the track, but we are still not there. We still have a lot to do, to work on as a country. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, Mudavadi.
Okay. Okay, for me, I think the answer will be yes, partly yes, and because there are still challenges. Because, you know, when you are moving to a first world country, then we really need to raise our bar and be able to sort out the issue of unemployment, as I said, because it has been a very major challenge in the Ruto's administration. I think when you look keenly on the journey towards Singapore, because the journey towards Singapore, it just didn't start from anywhere. It started with a plan. You must have a plan for you to be able to achieve your vision. So the vision is clear, but the challenges are still there. What I'll say is that the journey is live, but the challenges doesn't mean the challenges that are there don't mean that they are going to stop us from reaching our target, because we know that Ruto, if Ruto has only led for 4 years now, he has been in office for 4 years, and even if he comes back next year, he'll lead for another 6 years. So I think looking keenly on his track record so far, for whatever he said about the bottom-up economic model in 2022 and what he intends to achieve, I think we are on the track, but there are still challenges. The challenges, and the major challenge, I think, is the unemployment rate in Kenya, because among the youths. Because when my brother here talked about the issue of goons. You cannot say we are going to first world country when you are still having challenges like with issues, small issues like goonism. Those are very petty issues. We need to be very mature. Our democracy needs to be very mature, whereby if you have a different opinion on politics is not all about. I think it's not all about creating enemies, because I believe it's majorly about policies and resource allocation. So whatever we need is just that to ensure that there is equal distribution of resources in this country. That's what we need for us to be able to achieve that vision. But when you look keenly, the president does not work by himself. He has his own. He has people. He has his own people who helps him in addressing issues and in ensuring that he achieves whatever he promised Kenyans. So I think we are into that journey, but if we don't address the issue of unemployment among the youth, then you are going to be, you are not going to reach there very soon as we expect, because the fact that there is a lot of issues about goons, the people who make the highest number of people who are in those particular activities like goonism, most of them are unemployed. And you find that, like recently I saw someone in UDA putting an event. Actually, it was MP Didmas Baraza, MP for Kilimini. He just came out from nowhere and then came up with an event on a Monday. On a Monday it was, I think, it was I think it was in either in Bungoma. Yes, I think it was in Bungoma. He came up with that. He went there and of a suddenly called for an event. And what shocked me is that the number of people who showed up. You know, many people who are showing that, who are showing up, they are not going there because of political reasons. They are going there because maybe they think someone will be dishing money or someone will be giving out handouts. So you find that you find that the issue of goonism can only be controlled if these young people get some engagements and activities to do. And that's why I think the president came up with the Nyota Fund. There was a Nyota Fund that was being given around, and in fact I heard about it. And you know what really surprised me is those who are in government, those who are supporting one term and two term, all of them were beneficiary. Okay, some of them were the beneficiary for that Nyota Fund. I can't imagine this. I can't imagine the hype that was there before he was going to issue that money, because I was going through the social media pages, going through Facebook, going through Twitter, and I found that so many Kenyans were so anxious about that Nyota Fund. They were really eagerly waiting for that money so that they can be able to go and maybe do their things. Some say they open business. What I don't think it's true. So the issue of unemployment, actually the president was trying to sort out the issue of unemployment partially using the Nyota Fund so that people can be able to open up businesses, small business. But you find out that being given 22,000 to start a business, the only business maybe you can start maybe is a smoky mayai. That's a very small scale. Or maybe you can start selling maybe hawking tea, something like that. You find that, so you find that even if you are supposed to start these businesses, like let's say for example let's say for example in a ward, because they said per ward they were giving 70 people per ward for the Nyota Fund. So let's say in a ward there are 70 people who are doing businesses. All of them are selling smokies. All of them are selling hawking tea. You see, there'll be an issue, because 70 people hawking in a ward tea, that means that the economy is still has challenges. But that does not mean that does not give away the credit that the president has really tried in trying to improve the lives of the common Kenyans. Because remember that people who are doing this business, they don't have any skill. Some of them have not gone to school. That was the target. People who have no skill, you have not gone anywhere to school, you cannot apply for any job, so you go and apply for that particular fund so that you can be able to start a small business.
So you feel something has been done, but we are not there yet?
I feel something has been done, but we are not there yet. There are still challenges to address. Yes.
Wanjera, our journey to a first world country.
See, I do not understand the craze, David, with calling ourselves, a Singapore in transit, first world country. I do not understand what the craze is, because we do have a constitution that already tells us what kind of country we should be. We already have a constitution that tells the president what his roles and job designation is. Okay, and if we aspirationally just want to be the country that is already designated in the Constitution of Kenya 2010, then we will have already won half of this journey, right? Because the Constitution already gives us a roadmap, and then the rest of it is an execution of it. That is simply it. We do not have to aspire to be Singapore. We do not have to aspire to be any other country, because already it is a false equivalence. Singapore is a city-state. It is 800 times smaller than Kenya. Okay, the population of Singapore is less than the population of Nairobi by day. Okay, and that is the country you are comparing Kenya to. So even if by nothing else, even just the size, right, even just the population, it is already a false equivalence. It is already a non-starter example. But let us talk about some of the issues that have been brought up by the panel here, right? And let us look at some of the comparisons, or rather the markers that the countries, that the government is using to say, or William Ruto is using to say that the country is in the right direction. We already headed in the right direction as far as going to a first world state. Let us look at, for example, infrastructure. is it a month ago, I think President William Ruto was launching the Naivasha Road bridge. Is it a bridge, or what will I think I'd call it a bridge.
An overpass, yeah.
Yeah, an overpass, right? A distance, so the overpass in total is 800 meters, okay? The government spent 3.58 billion to build a bridge that is 800 meters. So David, if my mathematics here is correct, and allow me to refer to my calculator here, it means that per meter of road, right, per meter of that bridge, the government spent 4.475 million, right? It means then that per centimeter of road, David, the government spent 44,750 Kenyan shillings to build 1 centimeter of road. But we're supposed to applaud and ask no questions and agree that, you know, our infrastructure is leading us to a first world country. Let us also talk about, I think, what my friend here talked about, the Ronnie Mau Summit road. That is going to be a tolled road, which means that Kenyans are going to have to pay to use that road, okay? We are building that road on debt, and whoever is helping us build that road is going to retain, right, all the rights as far as governing and, you know, taking care of the road, and even in charge of tolling Kenyans to pay to use that road. So let us be very clear here. These are, for example, not infrastructures that Kenyans are being handed out. This is infrastructure that is coming at a great price to Kenyans. Let us also look at the state of human rights in this country, because another duty of the president in this country is to be a person that enhances the execution of the Bill of Rights, right? That the country has, that the president has the duty to ensure that Kenyans in this country are living as per the Bill of Rights is concerned. So when you think about it, a good example was talked about, I think, by Samson here, who talked about Kenyans that are disappearing as far as abductions are concerned. This very president instructed the police to shoot Kenyans in the leg. And when he was asked later, do you regret making a statement like that? He said, no, I do not regret it, right? He's also the president that called Kenyans terrorists for demanding for better governance in this country. So if he says that we want to be on the same page as far as development, as far as governance, and when Kenyans demand for better governance, he orders the police to shoot them in the leg, are we really on the same page with the president as far as that is concerned? Absolutely, the answer is no. So David, I think, like I began by saying, we do not have to aspire to be Singapore, because that is already an unstarter example or an unstarter comparison. The Constitution already tells us what kind of country we should aspire to be. And if we admit that simply that is the country we should be, and we need someone that executes it as it is constitutionally, then we do not need these other sideshows. We do not need, you know, someone telling us 4 years into his governance that, you know, now I have a new plan. That we don't need that. It is absolutely unnecessary.
All right. And talk of markers that lead to a first world country. Part of what these countries have done is become very intolerant to corruption. I'd say, as you laid the conversation earlier, full adherence to Chapter 6 of the Constitution then would get us to be partly prosperous. If money is not misappropriated, then we're expecting to be a high-income country. If investors are not being asked for bribes, then we will be highly industrialized. And definitely our standards will get us to a point where we are globally competitive. But talk of corruption. Part of news that hit headlines this week and the conversations that have been in the political space partly are senators in broad daylight admitting that indeed